eruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild. Online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta-exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
It's finally time to escape your four walls and see where your four wheels can take you. Sherwood Honda helps you head out on the road the way you want to, with the right vehicle, including freedom-seeking SUVs that give you the versatility to drive where, when, and how you want to. It sure would do some good to get out and stretch your horizons, and sure would be easier with Sherwood Honda.
I finished a 5K in 94th place, right after a man wearing jeans. Then a volunteer gave me a medal. But I don't want participation trophies, unless they're from Bet365. With their daily prize matcher game, I win by matching gold coins, cherries, and more. Take that, denim man. Thanks, Bet365.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit av.211.ca. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply.
My first kiss went a little like this. Twist. Twist.
First kiss went a little like this.
The Jason Gregor Show.
Looking to get back in the win column. Trying to come back against Saskatchewan. Rolling to the right. Launching it deep. One open in the inside. Catch for a touchdown.
On Sports 1440.
And 3 scores here. This time the play big. Looks inside. It's intercepted. J.J. Ross goes back the other way. Only Chad Kelly can prevent him from scoring. Ross has it. And he is going to score. Edmonton running away with this one.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Swing drive, well hit right. Suzuki back. It's gone. It is gone. It is gone. 3 homers for Baez. Major League history at Wrigley Field.
Just after 2 o'clock, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, the Daily Grand tonight. Tomorrow, the Lotto Max, $50 million. And then Wednesday, Lotto 649, $14 million up for grabs. We've also got the Jason Gregor Show specials boosted as always. I'll run down those later on in the program. I'm Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Mackenzie McClendon, and Connor the intern with you here in the Sports 1440 studios in West Edmonton Mall. Appreciate you guys joining us here on the show. If you're looking for another place, maybe you're listening in the car right now on the AM dial and you want to keep on tuning in, of course, iHeartRadio, tune in, Radio Player Canada, or you can watch the program. YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch. I recommend Instagram, or no, not Instagram, you could do it, but I think YouTube is probably the best way to do it. Sports 1440 AM. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and we'll meet you in the chat room. We'll talk to you there. You can talk with a Mac or Deck. Even I like to jump in there every once in a while. Lots to get to on the program today. Of course, the Edmonton Elks continuing their fantastic season. Saturday down at Commonwealth in front of an estimated 22,000 fans. They pick up a big win over the Toronto Argonauts, 42-12. And it was a close game at halftime. Second half, the Edmonton Elks kind of blew them out of the water. And that's what I like to see. You know, especially if you're a fan going down to the game, you want a competitive matchup. But as a home fan, for them to run away 13 points in the third, 18 points in the fourth, walk away with an easy victory, huge. And Declan and I mentioned it last week, not a must win. Probably not going to be too many must wins this early on in the season, especially before Labor Day. But keeping that home field advantage strong. Always good. Sending fans home happy, keeping that little bit of a gap in between the murky middle in the CFL's West Division, BC 4-5, Calgary 4-6, Winnipeg 5-4. Big. The Riders, surprisingly, falling to the Hamilton Tiger Cats on Saturday night after the Elks picked up the win. So they dropped down to 6-3. That's big for Hamilton. Even bigger for the Edmonton Elks, giving them that top spot in the West. And now they get the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Saturday. And it should be a lot of fun. Of course, we'll have tickets for you throughout the week. You can always text into 1-833-401-1440. Code word Elks. And we'll give away one pair of tickets that way. And we'll do some more as we get closer to the weekend. A great show coming up for you today as we're going to be going everywhere. Kevin Woodley of In Goal Magazine will stop by coming up in about 15 minutes time. Of course, Kevin Woodley, around this time, we always do our divisional previews for goaltender tandems. That's the key word right there. Not just the starting goalie, but also the backup goalie. We know how important that's going to be now with the 84-game season. So we'll talk about the goaltending rankings starting off in the Metro. Then Rick Walters, former CFLer, member of the Edmonton Eskimos, won a Grey Cup. He's going to join us. And awesome having Rick's knowledge on a bunch of topics. I want to talk to him about a few different things. Ball security being one of them. We saw the top receivers on both sides losing the football. We saw how they worked on it pregame, but during the week, is it just verbal reinforcements or are they working on ball security? We'll talk about a few more things as well because the Edmonton Elks receiving core has been very good. You've got your top guy in Austin Mack, no doubt about it, but the depth has kind of been there. And it almost reminds me of the NFL when you look at the Green Bay Packers a couple of years ago. If you listen to the Frenzy, we always used to discuss how there was maybe not that top dog, but everybody was good. So you wanted to avoid them fantasy-wise, but it led to good things real football-wise. And I think for the Edmonton Elks, if you're playing fantasy, Austin Mack is great. But the rest of those guys, very solid, or reliable options for Cody Fajardo. And then, heck, Justin Rankin. I loved that game plan on Saturday for Rankin. Just continually feed him the football, keep that Argos defense honest, wear them down potentially, and a guy as versatile as he is, throw him in the pass game. Get him running down the seam. He's making big-time plays there. That was originally what brought him to the green and gold a couple of years ago as a receiver. He was fantastic, and now the Elks, as we mentioned, turn their heads towards the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They, right now, 5.5-point favorites. We'll see how that changes, if it changes throughout the week. Alex Adams will be by around 4:20. We'll talk some Ottawa Senators and what's going on in the nation's capital. I kind of want to get his thoughts on the pulse around the team and even the fan base. Like, you trade away Brady Tkachuk. You don't trade him that far. You're going to see him quite a bit this season. It seems like they just had to move on. Mark Spector is back from vacation. We have Teresa Walker will join us. She covers the Tennessee Titans, actually going into her last year covering the team. She's been doing it for a long time. Wanted to get her back on the program. And we'll do 5 questions, the roundtable, stats of the day, and more. So make sure you keep it locked here on Sports 1440. Declan Kruger here as well. Deck, what's going on, my friend?
Not a whole lot. Monday morning, Monday afternoon.
Yeah. Did you happen to, well, I know you were sitting in here. There were some pretty heavy accusations weighed on Alan Mitchell for.
Well, they weren't even accusations. He did it.
He confessed immediately that he rips the top off muffins. Like in a public setting, muffins are left out for everybody. And he just leaves the bottom. And he didn't even deny it. He just owned it. And that's what kind of made it worse. There was no regret in what he did. That to me is like a huge faux pas when you're working in an office. You don't, when someone leaves muffins, you don't eat the top and walk away.
Well, the bigger problem is he saw no issue with it.
Right.
I think it's crazy. Now I'll put my hand up, Connor. You've brought in some donuts and stuff, and I've taken a bite and like put it to the side to save it for later.
In the box.
Well, one time it might have been. Actually, no, here I didn't even take a bite. I ripped it with my hands.
Yeah.
Because if I take a bite, I like take it out to save it for later. This one, like it was a pretty hefty donut. I don't know what, like, no sponsors, so we're not going to give away where it was from. But it was a nice donut. It was heavy. We're probably looking at like 500 calories per, maybe more. So I had a little bit of it that I ripped off with my hands. But I don't know, a muffin top, like you're taking the best part of the muffin, right? That's the biggest thing. Like just take all of it.
Or throw it out if you want to. Like no one's going to miss it, honestly. I will say, yeah, because I put you on blast once. I didn't know it was you. Never would do that intentionally. It's better when it's anonymous, but you owned it. And this one was just, I don't know. When low tide just owned it and then like had no issue with it, it kind of took some wind out of my sails.
No, I think I might have actually cut it with a knife too. The one time I did it. Like, I don't think I just ripped it with my hands. I think I cut it with a knife, cut like a little bit off the donut, left the rest there in the box. What Low Tide did was way worse. Because the other thing is, like, all parts of the donut are equal, generally speaking. The muffin top is clearly the best part.
100%. And you know what? I'll say, when you did it, I put it on Instagram. We have a mutual friend named Britt. She called it out. She's like, Declan, for sure.
She was right.
She was right. And then I deleted the story because we found the person who did it. But yeah, like a donut, it's all equal. It's like, what's another equal? Like, if there was cake and you just like took off the icing and then just left it, like licked it off, essentially. Now,
or like, I don't know, like a burger and you take out the patty, you leave the bun.
I'd be curious, is there any other like business faux pas that people have ran into? Like, obviously, stealing people's lunches. That was an issue at my sister's work. And that's like an Alberta healthcare place. Someone was actually stealing lunches. There was some discussions held after that. But if you have any good ones, let me know. 1-833-401-1440. Cat Dad says you could save these stumps for the homeless. Well, was that the Seinfeld bit? Or they went in through the mug because they had the place called Top of the Muffin, right? Top of the Muffin to you? Maybe we should stay away from the Seinfeld references.
No, it's not really my bread and butter.
Yeah, without Gregor here, maybe we just stay away from it. Deck, did you see the news? ESPN saying that there is a lack of proof that Ballmer paid Kawhi Leonard via sponsors. The league says the report has significant inaccuracies. Could this open up the trade to the Toronto Raptors for Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah, I think it's surely going to go. We're going to factor this one into 5 questions.
Okay.
And just where you come out on it. But yes, I think it definitely opens the door now for that to be completed. Like, surely. I mean, we'll see what the NBA actually says. But yeah.
I feel like if this doesn't result in something, like if nothing is found, either someone's lying and they smudge the numbers, or it's just a bad look for the NBA to kind of put your owner and one of your star players to kind of drag their name through the mud would be a bad look. It's been an 11-month investigation and we don't have any results from it. That to me is just a bad look.
I don't know if you saw that video of Kawhi Leonard too, where he was on the beach.
No.
It looks pretty non-extraditable country to me.
Like, where do you think he was hanging out?
Somewhere that we're too poor to even know about.
Like, just in case?
Yeah.
Just in case it went bad, he's like, yeah, you're not touching me here.
That's what it looked like to me.
Really? That would be interesting. I mean, would he have faced any actual hard time?
No, I mean, the crazy thing is, like, you would think actually, yes, probably, right? Because isn't this like fraud and like embezzlement in like a legitimate legal sense? But then you kind of step back and you're like, well, rules don't really apply to the rich, and especially kind of under the guise or under the umbrella, I would say, of like a sporting environment. Like it kind of almost acts as its own entity. It's like the army. It's like, hey, we'll punish you in an army court, but we won't touch an actual legal court. It's kind of like the same with the NBA. Like, we'll suspend you for 41 games, but nothing else will actually happen to you.
Keep you out of the real stuff. Bruce says, didn't Seinfeld hit on the muffin top issue 30 years ago? Top of the muffin to you. Yeah, that was the one. But then Low Tide kind of just brought it back by literally, there's a box of baked goods. He ripped the top off and then just left the bottom. That's wild to me. I can't believe there's more people who aren't up in arms. The rig said, of work faux pas, bringing fish for lunch and microwaving it. Also says he prefers a muffin bottom. Declan, you're a fish for lunch guy.
Yeah, I am. And I don't feel too badly about it. I get others' grieving. This is my thing. Like, if I make fish and I have leftovers, like, do I or do I not have to eat lunch the next day?
You do.
Right? That's kind of my thing. And like, I'm not, trying to splurge X amount extra for a meal. Like, if that's my lunch, that's what's going to get eaten.
I will say, I sit beside you when you do that. It doesn't smell that bad. Like, maybe when it's in the microwave, it does, but I feel like you're a pretty good cook.
Dude, I'll tell you what, like, back when I was poor working at Bell, because they didn't pay me nothing, I would make fish for lunch, and like, everyone would kind of be up in arms about it. And I was like, bump that salary up or start buying me lunch. Otherwise, I don't want to hear about this. Like, that, it really got to me there because they like made a point about it and it was like a whole meme kind of deal.
Yeah.
I was like, buy my groceries. We won't have to worry about this.
Walt says, I have a buddy who notoriously orders steak sandwiches at restaurants because it's generally cheaper than just getting a steak. Then he'll leave the bread or sandwich on the plate, won't eat it. Financially, I suppose that does make sense. Is it a different cut? Maybe a little bit cheaper? But why not eat the bread? The bread's like a pretty good part of it. Lance said, I used to have a general foreman. He's retired now, but he brought a crew. But we had a crew guy brought in 3 of those 12 coffee packs from Tim Hortons. It was roll up the rim. Came with 32 small roll up cups. After coffee break, we went back to work. We came back for lunch. He rolled up all 32 of the cups and didn't understand why the crew was mad at him. That's incredible. Yeah, that's so someone brings in coffee. The coffee comes with 32 small cups for roll up the rim. And then you have a boss who goes there and opens every single one. That's wild. That's like a McDonald's with Monopoly if someone brought that in and then they just ripped off every single sticker. I'd be fired up. Thankfully, I don't think we have anybody like that too much. Low Tide actually in Monopoly, when he gets his coffees, doesn't play the game. So he lets Declan or I have the stickers. That's a positive of Low Tide. Kind of balances it out. 1-833-401-1440 is the text line if you would like to get in on the conversation. Today, lots of things going up that we will be getting into. Some reports out of Ottawa, because we are going to talk some Sens. And I mentioned that their main focus, like I want to talk a little Brady Tkachuk and how the team's going to react with losing their captain. Drake Batherson is reportedly eyeing an 8-year contract before next month's cutoff. Obviously, it is going to go down to 7 seasons as the max. I think if you have certain players, it's probably a good idea to get that. Like, why not lock them in for that extra year? Batherson is 28 years old, so that might be a concern. That would take him to 36. As you all know, he's already played 8 years in the NHL. This past season, 33 goals. I mean, he has really evolved into a very good goal scorer. Almost a lock for 25 in the last couple of years here. I think I'd be a little hesitant, though, if I am an NHL franchise, to throw out that kind of term. Now, if the AAV is lower, maybe you're considering doing it, but that might be a little rich. We'll see how it works out. See what the AAV might be. We've seen it before in our own town, that you can get that job done. MTR says that is pure greed. I mean, now my follow-up for Lance is like, the roll up the rims at 1. Did he keep them all? Did he rip them all off? That's the key for me. Like, imagine you're going to pour a cup of coffee and it's got that thing ripped out. I guess you would. Otherwise, why would you be doing it? But yeah, that is one of the crazier things. I'm trying to think, like, outside of the little muffin issue, eating lunches, there's not too many work faux pas. Maybe the crazy cologne guy, or the guy who goes the other direction, doesn't smell very good. That could be another one. I remember at one point we had, I worked at a place that had said, no more cologne, no more perfume either. We've got too many people that are sensitive to it.
But isn't it crazy? Like, smokers can just go smoke and come back reeking of cigarettes. Like, that's a generally accepted thing in office spaces.
It is.
I'm not trying to say like smoke it, whatever, do your but like, it's crazy that's just like generally accepted as cool, but too much perfume or too much. I got killed at this office for spraying cologne.
It was brought up. Yep.
Yeah. Trying to smell good.
It was a heavy spray.
It was a big spray. Yeah. I deserve to get called out for it.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like a formal thing. It was just kind of a, hey, maybe 1 spray next time instead of 6 or 7. I don't mind it. I thought actually your cologne, when it faded away, it did smell very good.
Yeah. That's my work bag cologne.
Yeah.
The good stuff is at home.
It smelled good though. Like it when it was a little more subtle. Nothing worse than BO in the workplace. It's brutal. There's got to be something worse. Lance follows up and says that he did end up sharing his winning cup. So that's good. But the fact that you have the cojones to even do that is actually pretty crazy. Austin in Flin Flon says, people would make fun of me back in the day eating cold ravioli out of the can when I had 20 minutes or just straight monsters. Well, what's wrong with that? Was it like the white sugar-free monster? I think that, culture has taken on kind of a thing of its own right now. Cold ravioli out of the can, Chef Boyardee. I feel like you might get chirped for that one, and it might be fair, but it's all in good fun. Coming up next, Kevin Woolley going to join us. We're going to also hear from Rick Walters, former CFL or Grey Cup champion. Alex Adams will be by. We'll talk some Ottawa Senators. We've got Speck back from vacation and Teresa Walker in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll talk some Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward, season 2, what's going to happen? But up next, it is Kevin Woodley. This is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch. Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Jaffa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
Kickoff is coming August 21st. Elks, Blue Bombers at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. It's Country Night presented by Innova. Dust off that Canadian tuxedo and bring the hockey talk to the field. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
Now's the time to shop the Bricks 0% event. Get what you need today with absolutely $0 down. Pay nothing with no interest until 2028. Or choose 36 equal monthly payments on qualifying purchases. Plus, save up to 25% on living room furniture, up to 20% on dining and bedroom furniture, and up to 40% on select mattresses. Hurry into the Brick today. These incredible offers are only on until August 19th. The Brick, saving you more.
No fluff, no fillers, just pure entertainment. Sports 1440 brings the heat with bold opinions, big personalities, and Edmonton's fiercest fans. This is your turn. This is Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Day or night, tasting just the right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
Your weekend hotspot is at On the Rocks.
Party with Edmonton's best bands every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And we got them all.
From the Varkels to Tallboy, Radioactive, Curves, The Brute Squad, Morningwood, Rockzilla, Punch Buggy, and more.
Plus, the guy who keeps the party going every weekend. DJ Kenny K on the ones and twos, live.
Get ready to have a good time this weekend.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Hey, Edmonton, thinking about your next SUV? Think Subaru. The Subaru Forester has earned an IIHS top safety pick or higher for 20 years in a row. Add legendary Subaru symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and the 2026 JD Power Canada Best Residual Value Award among compact SUVs, and you've got an SUV that's built to protect today and hold its value tomorrow. This month, take advantage of loyalty rates as low as 0.99%. Come test drive the Forester at your local Subaru dealership today. Welcome to Uncommon.
Is it time to upgrade your golf bag? From August 6th to September 8th, the Leduc Golf Club Pro Shop is participating in the massive Callaway 2x trade-in bonus events. Bring in your old clubs and get double the trade-in value, up to an incredible $825 towards the purchase of new eligible Callaway gear. Upgrade to the latest Quantum Woods, Apex Irons, X-Forge, or Reva Rise clubs. Maximize your trade-in value today. See the Leduc Golf Club Pro Shop for details.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the Nation Golf Tournament, coming up Friday, August 28th at Millwoods Golf Course. Golf, drink, swag, food, and fun. Every swing supports Gregor's grad and helps graduates shine on graduation day. Sign up at nationexperiences.ca before it sells out.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
2:23. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, today you can head over there, go to the sports section, check out the Jason Gregor Show specials. Declan and I filled them out. Of course, there's the future bet, the Oilers to end the drought and win the Pacific Division. We've got the Braves, Cubs, Dodgers money line boosted, and then how about Declan's selections? Paige Becker's over 19.5 points, and the Wings to cover the spread 6.5. Deck, how are you feeling about that one?
Deck selects for a reason. I picked it with a lot of confidence.
She's averaging 20.5 per game, so why not roll with it?
She's a superstar.
I was watching the Fever game yesterday, and I'm telling you, Caitlin Clark's teammates did not want her to get the double-double. Like, she should have had 15 assists, and they're missing layups. I was losing it.
Yeah, I was talking to Brandon about this in before Low Tide show today. Like, sometimes those numbers, like, it's big for, like, the best players in college basketball. Like, people will look at their assist numbers and be like, they don't pass the ball, and it's like, well, actually, their teammates just don't hit shots.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
And that's kind of what Caitlin Clark suffered the other night.
It's too bad because we do like to go back and look at the double-doubles and all that sort of thing, how many they had, and that can be crushing. Maybe if they hit both free throws and getting fouled, you should get an assist. We'll move that into the rule book going forward. I don't think it'll happen. It is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger with you here, 224. Text line is 1-833-401-1440. You know, we've got some texts rolling in here. People actually eat other coworkers' lunch. Spent my whole life thinking that only happened on TV. Pathetic. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, it's just like a classic storyline on a sitcom. But it actually happened to my sister at her workplace. We hear people write their name on things, especially if it's like you put in like milk for your coffee or whatever. There's always names on it, but absolutely wild behavior. All right, now we're going to get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. We're looking forward to opening their season September 18th with a spectacular follow-up. Saints Hockey School runs from the 24th to the 28th, all ages, U9, U11, U13, and U16. You can sign up today at sgsaints.ca as we bring in Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com. Kevin, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Doing quite good, actually, as we are like getting closer and closer to the football seasons getting here. Obviously, we're going to be waiting for training camps, but the players getting back into shape, and that means we're going to get into shape as well here and start looking at our goaltending tandems. We've done this the last few years here on the Jason Gregor Show. Of course, we wrap it up out west here and get the Pacific Division, see where the Oilers rank in your standings here. But today we'll start with the Metro Division. So you got the defending Stanley Cup champion Carolina Hurricanes. They lost a goalie, but have some nice prospects. You got the Jackets, Flyers, Devils, Penguins, Rangers, Islanders, and Capitals. Kevin, who has the worst goaltending tandem? And I think we got to make sure people realize it's tandem, not just the starting goalie in the Metro.
Well, I actually am going to take it one further because I think as much as I'm going to rank based on the tandem, because that's most likely where you're going to find NHL minutes played last season, I think I'm also going to work into consideration the number 3 guy because, yeah, I mean, there's 2 parts to that, Connor. Like, one part is most teams, you end up going to the 3 at one point. Like, it's just so hard to stay healthy in this league, right? So you usually get to 3. But I think this year, you know, obviously this is a conversation around Edmonton. I think a lot of teams are going to start with 3. And so, you know, I think it matters who you've got in that 3 spot. Do you have a rookie who's never played? Okay, what's his upside? Has he had a taste? What's he done in small samples? Or do you have a veteran who's going to be great in the American League, but has proven he either can or can't play in the NHL? So, you know, those are some of the considerations that go into this. The other part, too, is that there's a potential aspect to this, right? Like the team I'm about to give you as last place has a goaltender at the top of their depth chart who is coming off a really good relief appearance in the playoffs, and we've seen in the past have success. But despite saying all that, to me, the rankings pretty clear right now at the bottom. Highest, maybe one of the highest potential to make me look stupid. It's not a high bar, let's be honest. But where they sit going in is the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've lost the stability that comes with the Stuart Skinner. You can make arguments about how high his upside is or isn't, but they've lost that stability. Artur Shilovs, again, continues to progress as a goaltender, but at the end of the day, last year finished below expected for the Pittsburgh Penguins. In other words, he underperformed his defensive environment. They've got a couple of kids behind him. Miroshov, the lefty, the full right catching goaltender with tons of upside. Like, he has the ability to burst onto the scenes. He has raw skill that makes you think he's going to be an elite NHL netminder, but asking him to do it out of the gate, potentially starting in a backup role, like, it's a tall ask. And then Joel Blomqvist, who this time last year, goalie coaches and goalie directors around the league were ranking for me in the top 10 of goalie prospects. He struggled a little bit last year. So not a huge sample size for him, but as many questions as there are answers. And for all those reasons combined, somebody has to finish last when it comes to goaltending in the Metro Division. And at least heading into the season, despite a lot of promise, for me, that's the Pittsburgh Penguins.
That's fair. And I mean, a lot of us kind of questioning, what can the Penguins do? Obviously, Malkin, Crosby back once again here. Not a great start for the Penguins. We'll have to see how it does play out. But I also like the caveat that you threw in that trio, because we do know 84 games being played. That's going to make a difference. Okay, so who's the second worst then in the Metro?
This one hurts me personally, guys. This one hurts because I'm a big believer in their number one. I also like the upside, and I think at times he's been overlooked in their number two spot. Like, he's given them better minutes in small samples than I think a lot of people have accounted for. But it's the Columbus Blue Jackets. And that number two I was speaking of is Elvis Merzlikins. He's actually given them a lot of really good minutes, but for whatever reason, they tend to want to lean on him too heavily. I'm hoping that the clear-cut delineation now that Jet Greaves is their number one allows them to find a better balance between the two. And I think if they do that, this is another ranking that has the potential to, make me look very unintelligent. Because like I said, Merzlikins finishes last year close to a percentage below expected. So like on every 100 shots, he's giving up almost a goal worse than your average goaltender in the league. It doesn't seem like a huge margin, but it puts him in the bottom third of the NHL in terms of his performance relative to environment. Greaves has done nothing but outperform his defensive environment by a significant margin up until last year. Last year, he still outperformed it, but the margin decreased, probably because he had to go through being a starter for the first time, playing as many minutes as he did. So I think he'll take a step this year and build on what is already a really strong resume. And I'm hoping that better balance between the two, again, turns this one on its ear and gives the Jackets a chance to get back to the playoffs. In the three hole, I like the signing of Phoenix Copley. I've always been a fan. I think his game is best behind really good structure. And I have questions as to whether the Blue Jackets will provide that type of defensive environment. It hasn't always been the case. Certainly wasn't the case as they fell out of the playoff race last year. They did not help their goaltenders very much. They asked a lot of them. Like I said, Greaves delivered for the most part all season. But I'm not sure that that's a perfect fit if you need Copley to come in, whether it's because of injuries, or because you've ultimately finally moved off of Merzlikins. So we'll have to see. Again, huge Greaves fan. Merzlikins, I think, has given them good minutes. Let's see if he can give them more in less of a role as Greaves continues to build that resume as a number one goaltender in the NHL.
Kevin Woodley here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. Of course, Kevin, you can find his work at Ingle Magazine as well as NHL.com. We're running through the Metro Division, the goaltending rankings. Penguins 8, Blue Jackets 7. Who do you have at number 6, Kevin?
This is a tough one because I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what's going to happen to Semyon Varlamov. And it rests a lot with him. The New York Islanders have Ilya Sorokin as their number one. And that means they should be near the top of this list. He's been one of the best goalies in the National Hockey League for the last number of years. For the first 3 quarters of last season, he was hands down the best. For the first half of last season, he was better than Connor Hellebuyck was in his Vezina Trophy year. But he fell off a cliff down the stretch. And I think that was in part because they overplayed him. And I don't know. Varlamov got into the American Hockey League games at the end of last season. He's coming off double knee surgery. Someone told me double knee replacements. I still don't believe that. As somebody who needs a knee replacement himself, I've been told what that means in terms of high-end hockey after the fact. So I feel like that's almost misreporting to say it's double knee replacements. At the end of the day, if you get Varlamov like you had Varlamov from a couple of years ago, they could be the number one team in the Metro. But if you don't get any minutes out of him, next up on your depth chart is Vitek Vanacek, who has kind of struggled since he struggled last year in Utah. He struggled, since leaving Washington for the most part, like hasn't lived up to the contract that the Devils gave him. And, I always had him as sort of a high floor, low ceiling guy, a guy who give you a steady base, but I wasn't sure about the upside. And there's been too many bad goals. There's been too many, the floor has shrunk on him. So it's the uncertainty behind Sorokin, who has the capability of being one of the best, that has the Islanders ranked so low. They get healthy minutes out of Semyon Varlamov or a bounce back from Vanacek, and they could be right back at the top of these rankings. But it just feels like there's too much uncertainty right now, at least publicly, on what we know in terms of Varlamov's health, to frankly rank them any higher in a division that's loaded with really good goaltender, or in the case of our next team, really good systems in front of goaltenders.
That's a perfect transition. Who's coming in at number 5?
That would be the Philadelphia Flyers. And Dan Vladar had an incredible first season under Rick Tocchet in Philadelphia, a full plus 1% above expected. We talked earlier about how Elvis Merzlikins was about a goal worse than NHL average for every 100 shots. Dan Vladar was a full goal better, and that's a pretty big swing. I do like the move to bring in Joseph Woll. He's coming off a down season, but even in a down season, he finished basically league average relative to the shot quality he faced. And I think that shot quality is going to get a lot easier when he gets behind Rick Tocchet's system. Now, we saw it here in Vancouver, where that system, the buy-in required to execute it, can fade a little bit from year 1 to year 2. Clearly, he had them all bought in last year, and it'll be interesting to see whether he gets the same level of buy-in this year. But if he does, the goaltenders will benefit. And just as Dan Vladar, in terms of his strengths and weaknesses, was a perfect fit for that system, and we saw that. We talked about that last offseason, and we saw it bear out as the year went on. I think Joseph Woll's in the same boat. So, this is another one there where they could climb even higher, in part because not just are they good goalies, but they're in a system that's not just goalie friendly, but ideal for their relative strengths and weaknesses. Like Joseph Woll, to me, was a perfect pickup for the Flyers. The only question beyond them, and the fact that both of them can be starters, means this is mitigated unless somebody misses a significant amount of time. And given Joseph Woll's injury history, we need to consider it. Kolosov and Bjarnason hasn't played a game. Kolosov struggled mightily when he did the last 2 years. Their 3-hole does not have a lot of depth. If they had the cap space, they are a team I would consider looking around on waivers to see if you could upgrade your 3 spot if you had the cap space to keep that third guy in the National Hockey League, because there are a lot of questions beyond the 2 they have in the NHL, and that kind of bumps them down on this list a little bit in my books.
Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine joining us here on the Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. We're ranking the goaltending trios in the Metro Division right now. We got Penguins, Jackets, Islanders, Flyers. That's 8 through 5. So now we're into the top half of your rankings here, Kev. Who's coming in at number 4?
Yeah, we're kind of getting into coin flip territory, like especially in the 3 and 4. You could go either way on this, and there's some uncertainty with some of the changes, right? Like both the Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils have lost their number 1 from a year ago. So that means more minutes for other guys. But the good news is the other guys in these situations have shown they can handle them. So right now I've got probably the coin flip tips towards the Hurricanes ranking ahead of the Devils. So next up on this list would be the Devils, in part because they won the Stanley Cup. So they get a little credit for that, carrying over. But Jake Allen was really good last year. We've talked about this before. He was top 6 in adjusted save percentage last year. Yeah, the only thing separating him from, at least being in the conversation for a Vezina Trophy was the fact he didn't play much behind Jacob Markstrom. Now, asking him to do more and expecting the same results, that's not a straight line. There might be a fall off when you ask him to play too much, if they ask him to play too much. But he was so good for that team. The other little hiccup here is they changed their goalie coach. And the irony there is, I talked to Jake Allen about that after they made that move, or actually, I guess I should say before they made the move, because I was aware of it before it happened. I think there was disappointment there. He really liked the guy that they sent out. So it was really head scratching to me that they moved up the goalie coach he liked, that he played so well with. Like I said, Again, top 6 in the NHL numbers last year, plus 1.6 adjusted save percentage. They move out the goalie coach, and then they move out the number 1 goalie, and now their new number 1 doesn't have the guy he liked. The good news is I like the goalie coach they hired in place of him. The questions now are what happens beyond Jake Allen to sort of relieve how much he plays. David Rittich had some really good moments for the New York Islanders last year, but he will be facing a lot tougher chances, at least based on the way the Devils defended or didn't defend for large portions of last season. So it'll either be him or Nico Daws. And Daws is a guy with upside. And in a tiny sample last year, he almost matched Jake Allen's performance on a per-shot basis in terms of how he played relative to quality at plus 1.5%. That's a pretty big number for him. He's had success in the past, maybe too early in his career. What he's really good with is the high-danger stuff. What killed him statistically up until last season in that small sample was the bad goals, the soft goals. He just gave up basically one every second game. He would give up a bad goal. And as I've recited on here before, your team loses 85% of the games when your goalie gives up a low danger goal and the guy at the other end doesn't reciprocate. So that's a tough statistic. But if last year's any indication, and Daws has figured a few of those things out, he's always had the ability to make the tough saves. If he gets rid of those soft goals, this is another one where I think a lot of people would have looked at the Devils and looked at Allen and Daws and Rittich and ranked them even lower than I have them. But if Daws can sort of get rid of those low percentage goals, they can end up finishing a lot higher because Jake Allen was that good and Daws has the potential to be.
So Devils 4, Hurricanes 3. Obviously some changes between the pipes there, but you got Brandon Bussey, who I think people should be excited about. Kochetkov as well. Why do they get the nod on top of being the Stanley Cup champions?
Well, I mean, Bussey showed how good he can be, right? There were some inconsistencies in his game down the stretch last year. But when you think what was thrown at this kid, you look at the numbers he put up, there's just so much about his game and his mindset as much as anything that fits the Carolina Hurricanes in ways that a lot of goalies wouldn't be able to. The ability to sort of handle the pressure of, not being busy, but then having to come up with really dangerous saves after long periods of inactivity. Some goalies, we've talked about this in the past, some goalies really struggle with that. Some really good goalies really struggle with that. Bussey's shown he can handle that. He's shown a willingness to adapt his game. And I think there may have to be some adaptation as this season goes on. Some of the things that he did aggression-wise, in terms of once he made a read challenging out on guys, teams are going to be looking for that a little more. They're going to try and sort of pass it around him when he gets aggressive. So he's going to have a little more give and take in his game and his reads. But he's shown how good he can be, and that was just one season. I think you'll see him continue to take strides. And we talk about that magical plus 1%. He was just below it last year, so almost a goal out of every 100 shots, even with a real significant dip in the final month of the season statistically, he still maintained a high level. And then the one that people are sleeping on, I think, is Pyotr Kochetkov. Misses last season, has the hip surgery, comes back late in the year, so he should have had a full off season of training. All this guy's done when he's in the net is outperform his environment by a significant margin. So as much as you miss Frederik Andersen, the reality was statistically in the regular season last year, Frederik Andersen's numbers took a dive. Kochetkov and Bussey were both better goalies, at least by the numbers, when they were healthy last season. Kochetkov has consistently showed elite results. It's just a matter of, again, maybe reining in some of those aggressive tendencies, the diving poke checks that put him at risk to injury as guys skate through him, instances like that. Like, how can you sort of rein him out without losing those instincts? But all he's done is produce great numbers, and that, in addition to the cup, is why I've got them ranked so high. I think people forget how talented Pyotr Kochetkov is.
Kevin Woodley here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in for Jason. So, Kevin, we're ranking the goalies in the Metro as trios here. The advanced 84-game schedule. Looking forward to that. Less preseason games. But we're down to our final two teams. You got the Rangers and the Capitals. Who's number 2?
Oh, this is a really, really tough one because I like their depth charts 1 through 3. And you have 2 of the best starters in the league. Logan Thompson has been the best starter since he went to Washington. Despite the fact that Washington's number 3 is a guy I know really well, who was really good in his first sort of small taste of the NHL last season, Clay Stevenson, who's from out here in BC, I have Washington ranked number 2. And that's just because last year was a really down season for Charlie Lindgren. And when you look at what the Rangers did in terms of their depth chart, adding Korpisalo, it gives them an ever so slight edge. The fact that Thompson has been so good, and I expect him to continue that, That's why they're in that 1-2 mix. The fact that Stevenson is such a good option to come up, a guy they might lose on waivers, frankly. I believe he's waiver eligible this year. He's a guy that if I was other teams, I'd be looking at as, hey, can this be our Brandon Bussey next season if we think we need to strengthen our depth chart? So it'll be interesting to see if the Capitals risk that or if they hold on to 3, especially with Lindgren coming off a season where, as good as Thompson was at almost plus 2%, Lindgren was minus 1.5. So you won't find a bigger believer in Charlie Lindgren than me. Last year, I think there was probably an adjustment for him. He was in a bit of a job share up until last season, and then it became Thompson's net. And so the role changed. The expectations changed. Again, he got some of the more difficult starts. Like, there were a lot of elements that changed on him. He's had a year, an offseason now to adapt to it. I know the character of Charlie Lindgren. I think you'll see better from him this year. But the way things went for him last year is why I've got the Capitals number 2. And that, of course, leaves the New York Rangers as number 1. Igor Shesterkin, enough said. We know how good he is. Plus 1.1% last year in what I think you would say overall was an average to maybe even for him below average season. Joonas Korpisalo behind a Boston team that no longer defends like they used to in the heyday of Bergeron and Chara. Not even close, still finished with positive numbers and brings a ton of experience. And in some ways, I scratched my head that they even brought him in because Dylan Garand in his first taste in the National Hockey League was plus, tiny sample, 4 games, but plus 4.6%, which if you were able to do that for an entire season, they'd not only hand you the Vezina, but they'd hand you the Hart as well. So I'm not expecting him to do that, but I liked a lot of what I saw out of his game in the NHL last year. And it's that combination of the 3, as well as, much like Philadelphia, the Rangers play a really goalie-friendly system since the coaching change. Mike Sullivan preaches defense, and they defend pretty well. And so it gives them a higher floor to operate from. Certainly an easier defensive system than the Capitals goalies face. And for all those reasons combined, that's why I've got the Rangers ahead of the Capitals at the top of the Metro, but just ever so slightly.
Great stuff, Kev. Penguins, Jackets, Islanders, Flyers, Devils, Canes, Caps, Rangers. That's 8 through 1. Now, if I throw one more question your way, if you're looking at these teams, and obviously there's kind of the depth chart, 1, 2, 3. Of the third goalies, is there anyone you like that you think maybe could steal some starts for one of these teams?
Ooh, that's a great question, Connor. Well, 2 of them were the last 2 I mentioned, right? Dylan Garand. I think he's ready for the NHL. And I think that I was a little surprised because basically they got Korpisalo because Boston decided that Michael DiPietro was ready for the NHL and they don't want to risk losing him. So Korpisalo goes to the Rangers. It pushes Garand down the depth chart. And I think the only thing that would prevent him from getting claimed if they decide to put him on waivers is he's not the biggest goaltender. Right? Kind of like the same way DiPietro got through waivers for the Bruins last season, despite everyone telling me he was ready for the NHL. Size matters. Clay Stevenson of the Washington Capitals could do it both ways, whether it's playing for the Caps if there's injuries or pushing Lindgren for starts if they keep 3 or getting claimed by another team because he has size. Like, he's a big goalie and he's produced really good underlying numbers in a tiny sample size last season. So those are the 2 that jump out the most to me. We counted Nico Dawes as the number 2 in New Jersey, and that means David Rittich with a lot of experience and personality would be the 3. And we saw what he did for a good 1-month stretch for the New York Islanders last year, kind of around December when Sorokin got hurt. He was really good for a while. Didn't keep it up down the stretch, but he's a guy that could, has that possibility. The other ones on that list, honestly, Blomqvist is a talented young goaltender. I don't know what that opportunity looks like for him, and I don't know if the Penguins will defend any better than they did last year, but he'd be worth watching. But certainly my top 2 on that list would be Garand and Stevenson, and that's, there's some personal bias there. We've done some work with both of them at InGoal Magazine over the years and gotten to know them a little bit, but mostly I'm just looking at the numbers, the objective numbers from Clearsight Analytics, and the fact that they did what they did, even in a small sample size last year, to me is a sign that there's more good things to come.
Great stuff, Kev. We'll do it again next week looking at the Atlantic. I cannot wait because we've got some questions about this division. I think it's going to be ultra competitive. Looking forward to it, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Connor. Appreciate it.
There you go. Kevin Woodley, InGoal Magazine and NHL.com. It is the Jason Gregor Show. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get to the stats of the day. Read your text, 1-833-401-1440. And remember, you can join us on YouTube as well. The chat is there. I'm talking in it, Declan, but I'm not getting a lot of replies. So if you're in the YouTube chat, open it up. Let's have a conversation. It is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Tee up for a great day on the course and support the Stony Plain Eagles Senior Men's Hockey Club. It's the Stony Plain Eagles Golf Tournament. Gather your foursome and join the Eagles August 25th at the Links at Spruce Grove for a 2 p.m. shotgun start. Enjoy a fantastic afternoon of golf, great company, and friendly competition, all while supporting the Stony Plain Eagles. Get all the details and register today at stonyplaineagles.com.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks. Ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design, build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
It's Dollar Drink Summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer,
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
And with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
What if one moment changed everything? The turn of the key to your dream home. The roar of the crowd from your Oilers season seats. The trip you've always talked about. With the Stollery Children's Hospital Foundation Mighty Millions Lottery, winning is just the beginning. For you and for them. You could win the $2.4 million grand prize show home plus $100,000 cash and more incredible prizes. And every ticket makes a life-changing difference for Stollery kids and their families. Change lives. Support Stollery kids. Be mighty. Get your tickets now at MightyMillionsLottery.com.
It might have been scraped by the snowblower, dented while door crashing, or crunched at the company Christmas party. At some point over the winter, your car was damaged, and it's been hiding under a coat of winter grime.
Then come and see Robertson Body Works. We can take care of the damage and the dirt. This week only, call and book a repair and get a complete auto detailing absolutely free.
But you have to book your appointment before the week is up. Go to robertsonbodyworks.com.
I'm Tim Robertson, and I fix cars.
Your heart beat to the beat of the drums. Oh, what a shame that you came here.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at CanTorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It's the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where all revenue stays in Alberta. PlayAlberta.ca here on Sports 1440. YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch, brought to you again by PlayAlberta.ca. Check out the Jason Gregor Show Daily Odds Boost. Dex got some picks, some selects. I got some baseball ones. You can go check it out. And remember to stay within your limits. Our text line is 1-833-401-1440. Great rundown, if you missed it, from Kevin Woodley, just on the rankings for the goaltenders. Not really duos, kind of trios now. Teams running 3 goalies. Penguins at 8, followed by the Jackets, Islanders, Flyers, Devils, Hurricanes, Caps, Rangers. When you have Shesterkin, that's probably a pretty big benefit. I am curious now, though, once we get into the season, like if there is a team that runs a goalie out there and he's only playing, sparingly 5-6 games, but you like what you see, all of a sudden, are you willing to make that trade? And how crazy are you going to get? Maybe it is a player that has a lot of upside and the team doesn't want to trade him, but for the right package, would you do it? I'm intrigued to see that little wrinkle in the NHL season this upcoming year. But if you missed it, make sure you go check out Kevin Woodley's conversation with us, and he'll be back to do it again on next Monday. Right now, though, we'll get to the stats of the day, brought to you by All Star Construction. Founded in 2009, they continue to grow. They're hiring general laborers, hydrovac operators, backhoe operators, gas piping technician, and more. Visit Indeed.com and search All Star Construction. And I was kind of just scrolling through the record books today, as I like to do, and it was on this day in 1980. George Brett went 4 for 4. That took his average up to 401. Now, he did not hit 400 on the season. We know that is an incredibly tough thing to do. I think he finished just under, and this is going back to 1980. He finished with a 389 average. So I went back and looked. In history, players that have hit above 400. It's been done 53 times. The most recent time was 1948. Artie Wilson and Willard Braun both went over 400. Wilson at the age of 27 went 433, while Brown at 33 went 408. Since 2000, we haven't had too many guys doing it, obviously. I think it'd be safe to say that the pitchers have caught up with the batters, and they're finding ways to make it just a little bit tougher. DJ LeMahieu went 364 in 2020. Before that, you had Josh Hamilton. That guy was a beast. Battled his demons. At the age of 29, hit 359 in 2010. Then in 2009, Joe Mauer. Shout out Joe Mauer. Heck of a player. Just 26 years old. He went 365. Chipper Jones went 364 in 2008. Albert Pujols went 356 in 2008. Ichiro Suzuki, I mean, this guy's going to probably find himself on this list a few times, but in 2004, he went 372. And how about Barry Bonds in 2004, going 361 at the age of 39? Now, there were some enhancements there for sure, but pretty impressive. When you look at the greatest seasons in terms of batting average, Tadelo Vargas was 37 years old in 1943. Now, and this was in 142 plate appearances, but went 471. Josh Gibson in 1943, that same year, in double the at-bats, he went 305. So over double was 465. That was the second best of all time. If you want to get more recent, obviously it's going to drop off quite a bit because we haven't had, like I said, a 400 hitter since 1948. But interesting to see how the numbers have changed over the last few years here. The game changing, constantly evolving, but they don't make them like they used to. There's some unbreakable records, I think, in baseball, and I think a lot of that comes from technology. Text line 1-833-401-1440. Prior to the show, or earlier on, we were talking about how Low Tide, in an office setting, if there's a muffin in a box on the counter, open for everybody, he will just pop the top off. Some people were getting similar complaints, doing different types of things. We had a texter getting mad, or had people get mad at him because he would eat cold ravioli right out of the can. The rig says, I don't really mind the cold ravioli, but not the can. Right out of the can, I kind of get it, though. Like, you're saving a dish. I'm hoping you're using a spoon or a fork, at least. You're not using just your hands, but I don't mind it. Walter says, people complain about eating cold ravioli straight out of the can, but the reality is when you heat it up, it doesn't taste any better. I don't know. I'm not really a cold food for hot food guy. Like, if it's hot, I want it hot. I don't like leftover pizza when it's cold, personally. So I understand it. Bonacord Greg said, my dad used to work at a print shop, and someone would eat his lunch every day. He got tired of it, put yellow ink on his sandwich instead of mustard. He found out pretty quick who it was. It's just a gutsy move to be that guy, to not only steal someone's lunch, but do it at their workplace. What Low Tide did was frowned upon, but it doesn't make him a bad person. To steal someone's lunch, I would say, is a bad person move. Like, Dick, you sometimes forget your lunch. You would never reach into my bag and pull out my pasta or anything.
Never.
Let's
I would
just-
ask for it.
Well,
I would say, let me get that.
When you tell me you're hungry, old Uncle Connor, I'm embracing that title.
Boy,
I'll
you
go
just
to the cubby and pull you something out.
you just did it. I told you that during the break. I was like, Connor, I'm really hungry right now. Is there anything you can do to help me out? And you came back with two of the best snacks I've ever had, honestly. Some Planters honey nut nuts.
Yep.
And some Szechuan crispers. And they are both so good.
Those are limited edition, by the way.
I think the crispers were supposed to be communal, but I've kind of taken them over.
Yeah, well, I want young Connor to eat, Mackenzie as well, digging in. But hey, that's how it should be. You got to take care of each other. You don't steal someone else's lunch. I don't like that. As long as they're not eating 9 cans of ravioli, Sasha says. Well, I would hope not. That would be incredible. But I mean, that's like a kind of a good bachelor move. Like what are you taking in your lunch? Well, I got a can of ravioli. Throw it in the bag, get to work, crack it open. You're set. Don't have a microwave on the job site? That's okay. You can still eat it cold. I would reluctantly do that one. Like a can of soup? No. Got to be heated up for sure. We're talking workplace faux pas. If you have any, you can let us know. 1-833-401-1440. Coming up next, we're going to talk some CFL. We'll talk college, junior, flag, NFL football. 1-833-401-1440. Right now, an update with Declan Kruger brought to you by Go Auto. Shop over 17,000 vehicles at goauto.ca with 31 new vehicle brands and 73 locations to choose from. Find your car at goauto.ca.
The Sports 1440 update.
One MLB final from today was the Cards over the Reds 2-1. That one game one of their doubleheader on makeup from May 24th. Next up in the MLB, we'll see the Orioles and the Rays at 4:05 and the Marlins and Phillies, as well as the Cards Reds game 2 at 4:40. Late games tonight in the MLB, we'll see the White Sox and the Cubs at 6:05 and the Dodgers and the Rockies at 6:40. Scores from the CJFL Prairie Conference this past weekend. It was the Edmonton Wildcats over the Saskatoon Hilltops 28-22 and the Huskies over the Rifles, the Winnipeg Rifles, 38-28. Final game in the Prairie Conference saw the Regina Thunder over the Calgary Colts 27-9. News from around the sporting world is the NBA has found no evidence showing LA Clippers owner Steve Ballmer funneled money through team sponsors to pay Kawhi Leonard. And finally, in the WNBA, just one game tonight, the Dallas Wings and the Golden State Valkyries with an 8 p.m. tip-off. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Tap into the fun of Play Alberta's most popular casino games. From the fast-paced spins of Cash Eruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild, online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta-exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Kickoff is coming August 21st. Elks, Blue Bombers at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. It's Country Night presented by Innova. Dust off that Canadian tuxedo and bring the honky tonk to the field. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
Tasting just the right. You can order noodle at noodle.ca. Delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order noodle at noodle.ca. So sit on your couch all day and order noodle.ca. Noodle.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Yeah, it's me again. And if you're sidelined with a sports injury, you already know nothing's more frustrating than being told to just rest. At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we get athletes moving sooner with our zero-gravity treadmills. You can run, train, and rebuild strength with up to 80% less body weight, so your injury heals while your confidence comes roaring back. When your sports injury's yelling, whisper back, leadingedgephysio.com, because life shouldn't hurt.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is serious about cooling. In fact, we offer multiple ways to cool your home. So you better
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you're looking for traditional air conditioning, we got you.
Call Legacy. Call Call Legacy.
Or ask us about a heat pump to help you heat and cool.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Cool with AC or cool with a heat pump. Cool your home with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
What's 426 divided by 12? Okay, if I carry the one, yeah, we're out. Go Auto has a free credit calculator that does the math for you. See what you could qualify for, estimate your payments, and get a better idea of what's in your budget. Because shopping for a vehicle is exciting, but crunching numbers, yeah, not so much. Text CHECK to 780-777-7777. That's CHECK to 780 all sevens.
Ready to upgrade your ride this spring? Come on down to the Golf Cart People. They're a family-owned and operated business that's been serving the community since '97. Whether you're looking for a brand new or quality pre-owned cart, a rental for a special event, they do that too. The Golf Cart People have a huge selection of parts and accessories, and their expert service team is here to keep you rolling. The Golf Cart People, your one-stop shop for everything golf cart. Visit golfcartpeople.com.
We were at a party. I was having fun. He wasn't. He grabbed my arm, then yanked me towards
the front door. Was under his watch 24/7. He installed a doorbell camera to control me, to keep me at home. It hurt.
More than you can imagine.
Tech abuse is real abuse. If you or someone you know is using technology to harm or control, change is possible. Learn how to end the violence at alberta.ca/endgbv. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Need equipment on the job fast? Japa Equipment Rentals in Atchison has you covered. Excavators, wheel loaders, compaction equipment, and more. Backed by expert service, visit japamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
And Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. You got the Daily Grand tonight. Tomorrow, Lotto Max worth $50 million. And then on Wednesday, Lotto 649, $14 million. Also, the Gregor Show specials with boosted odds. PlayAlberta.ca. Remember, use your game sense. Connor Halley, Duncan Kruger, Mackenzie McLennan, and Connor, the intern, with you here. Text lines 1-833-401-1440. Check us out on YouTube at Sports 1440 AM. As we're going to go in the room now. Brought to you by Action Electrical. They're the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta with 4 divisions in project, service, tag, and solar for commercial or residential. Contact them today at actionelectrical.net as we bring in former CFLer, former member of the Edmonton Eskimos, Grey Cup champion, Rick Walters. Joins us once again as he does every Monday here at 3 o'clock on the Gregor Show. Rick, good afternoon. How's the day going?
Connor, it's good. It's awesome. It's not raining outside, so the world's a good place right now.
It is really good. And the fans down at Commonwealth on Saturday got treated to almost the perfect experience, I would say. The weather was fantastic. You know, it was a competitive game at half, and then you're leaving stress-free because the Edmonton Elks running away with this one in the second half. What were your takeaways from the big win over the Toronto Argonauts on Saturday?
Geez, a lot of things you alluded to. A great, beautiful day. Couldn't have asked for a better day to be down in the stadium. I've said this lots. There's nothing better than a weekend day, early afternoon, hot day in Edmonton, lots of people in the stands. It's kind of like you alluded to. It's a little bit tight early on, and then the home team kind of runs away with it at the end. So, and it's against Toronto. So anytime you can beat Toronto, it's a good thing.
100%. A little Grey Cup revenge from back in the day there. And there was a lot going on in this one. I really liked the usage for Justin Rankin. Gets those 16 carries. I mean, I've been preaching, banging on the drum for a while. I love just keeping that defense honest and continuing to run the football. But I loved what we saw, later on in the game, moving Justin Rankin out and getting him involved in the passing game. When a player is as versatile as Justin Rankin, few guys come to mind that can be as good of a receiver as you are as a running back. Marshall Faulk from the NFL back in the day, Danny and Tomlinson. But what a luxury it is to have a guy like Justin Rankin with that versatility, and good on the coaching staff for using him in different assets of the game.
Yeah, no, and those are all good points. And 100%, there's very few guys that kind of, I think Roger Craig was kind of in the NFL with the 49ers, was kind of that first big one. The CFL has had guys with that, that kind of skill set, but maybe not as electric as he is. Robert Drummond comes to mind back when he played with the Argonauts, guys who kind of did it all, who could catch balls really well, run from the backfield. When you're looking at ranking, you're looking at touches. How many touches is he getting per game? I know lots of times you want to look at the carries and things like that, but it really comes down to touches. I like the creativity part of it. It's hard to go back and remember. They did release him, the club, when he first tried out. They brought him as a slot back, so he has natural hands and he has really good hands. And so for him to get the ball in space, it's a great way to take advantage of somebody that just has elite level skill. If you can get him, usually when he's behind the dot or behind center, there's 12 sets of eyes that are all focused on him at that point. But if you can get him in a little bit of space where he's one-on-one against either a linebacker or even a DB or a free safety, then that just adds to what his value looks like. So I'm hoping to see more creativity as the year goes on, with whether it's shovel passes. Obviously, you can get tailback swings and check downs and stuff like that. But I think he's kind of proved that he can play as a slot receiver, whether it's getting seams down from the backfield or just flanking him out wide and have him run a slant route and stuff like that. So the more touches you can get him, the better the team becomes.
We're joined by Rick Walters here on the Jason Gregor Show, taking a look around the CFL, starting off with the Elks and Argos game on Saturday. Big 42-12 win, and the Elks running away with it, outscoring them by 28 points in the second half. And just sticking with Rankin and the usage, because we see a lot of it. It seems like they're going in between the tackles here, the A, B gaps for sure. And, they're not necessarily running it outside the tackles quite as often. We've seen it occasionally, and you get the guards in motion pulling as well. Do you think that's something that the Elks need to look at a little more? So is just kind of opening up the playbook and, not just running it up the gut?
Yeah, I think so. That if there was one thing that I think I would have a complaint to, and I'm not even a complaint, but one thing that we can continue to build on, would just be our first down run production. Having a little bit of variability around what that looks like. Like I've mentioned it before, like we want to come with, another O-lineman, a fullback, and we're trying to get downhill. We're just bringing more guys to the box or between the tackles. And usually what happens, if one person just kind of slips off, then they make a play. I've said to guys lots, it takes 12 guys on offense to be right in order for a successful play to happen. On defense, really nobody has to be right for, somebody could trip on the back of a foot. Or in this case, an extra guy in the box that slips off a tackle or off a block and makes the tackle. So I think the first down run production, I think, can be a little bit more diverse in terms of what that looks like. They could get into some, I love seeing Cody Fajardo using his legs. They can get into some quarterback, like spreading Rankin out and get into some quarterback draw type deals. He's still a good athlete. Even as his age, he gets a little bit older. He's still, and you kind of saw that with that, I think it was 40 yard run. And so he can still, so he can still threaten the edges. So I think that would all help what that looks like. And I'm a big proponent on being able to get guys wide out or move them out a little bit, get a static box with probably 6 guys in the box and let the old lineman kind of know where they're going. And then kind of let Cody kind of read off of that sometimes. So I think we can keep working on what that looks like from, and there's place, obviously, when you want to get double tight, you want to get a fullback and a lineman, you want to come straight downhill. But in order to get a little bit more variability with it, you can get in some jet sweeps. You can get into some fly sweep type action with somebody around the edge. I think that will kind of add the run game, take it to another level as well.
And just to build off that, I mean, adding a jet sweep here and there, what does that, putting it on there in film as an opposing defense, what does that do to them, seeing that, the Elks would have that potentially in their bag?
Yeah, no, well, it makes people have to prep. It makes people have to spend more time preparing. How are we going to handle the edges now? If you're just a B gap team, power run game, downhill all the time, you kind of have an understanding for what that looks like. But the one thing about Rankin and some of the skill guys is they scare you on the edges as well, right? So if we can get like either a fake inside run with a jet sweep action coming around the outside. Now the ends can't crash as hard. They got to play a little bit wider. Same thing, kind of like we talked about Cody on the edge, trying to get around the outside. They've done they've shown in some games where they get the toss action, where the receiver's cracking down on a defensive end, and then they're pulling a guard or tackle around for DBs. So I think you can continue to build on those, and jet sweeps are relatively easy installs, and those are things that I think you can continue to get their playmakers the ball in their hands in different ways.
Oh, sorry about that. Rick talking a little CFL football with Rick Walters, a former member of the Green and Gold Grey Cup champion here on the Jason Gregor Show. And I just looking at this receiver room, and Austin Mack, I think probably no arguments there. Wide receiver one, he was fantastic once again on Saturday. But I look at this receiving group, and it kind of reminds me of the group you guys had. You had Terry Vaughn and Ed Hervey, Jason Tucker, yourself, like a lot of capable receivers. Joshua Cephas has stepped up big time this year. TJ Luther, and then you look at Brandon O'Leary Orange. Those guys combined were targeted 9 times. 9 receptions. There's a lot of really good players that they can go through here. So if I were to ask you, and this is just your personal opinion, after Austin Mack, how would you rank this team's wide receivers 2 through 5? Because I think it's a pretty competitive group there.
Yeah, no, they are. So I would rank it like this. Number 1 is Rankin. Number 2 is Rankin. 3 is Rankin. 4 and 5 are Rankin. And then we can get into Mack.
Yeah.
But all seriousness, in terms of their receivers, I think Mack is kind of their undisputed one. That's who they try to get the ball to every game. The other guys have stepped up, though, and each game it seems that somebody's having 3 or 4 receptions each game and making plays. From strictly a skill set standpoint, I think I'd probably have to go maybe Cephas number 2, and then Luther 3, and then I like the other 2 guys. I think O'Leary Orange has done a really good job throughout the year. I really do. I think he's been relatively consistent, and obviously Julian Grant, they're relatively close. They do have a good room, right? Like they have a good room. Guys make plays. When you get your opportunities, you want to be accountable to yourself and to your team and make sure you can stand up to do that. So I think that's kind of what you're seeing right now is by not having a true kind of hierarchy in terms of what that looks like. Sometimes great teams are able to do that as long as the guys, when they need to step up, they make plays. It's when the challenge I have sometimes is when they don't understand that Justin Rankin is their best player, and we need to find so many different ways to get him the ball, whether it's throwing it. Like he should be close to the top receiver and the top runner every game, in my opinion. And then everybody else can kind of eat off of that and feed where they want. But I think they just got to make sure that he's their focal point.
I agree with you. And I mean, I think that's going to open everything else up, and just finding creative ways to get the ball into his hands. I think Gregor had the number at 20. I think last year I tweeted out the number was 25 when it comes to touches for Justin Rankin. As long as his body can hold up, we know how dynamic he can be. And I thought that catch he had down the seam, hanging onto the football. At first, it's like, what a catch. And he's a running back hanging onto it. Now, you deke into it and you know that he's came to this team initially as a slot. But I thought that was pretty incredible. And yeah, I've really liked what I've seen from this group as a whole. Brendan O'Leary Orange has been extremely trustworthy, 32 targets, 27 catches. And then just the young guys that you mentioned there, Cephas and then Luther, both rookies. When you saw a rookie receiver coming from the United States to the CFL, was there, obviously it varies, was there a point of the season where you're like, okay, I think now they're starting to pick up on the little things in the CFL game?
Yeah, usually a third of the way. Then they kind of, you'd been through the first part of your season. and they've been through kind of the bumps and grinds in terms of what it looks like. Everybody's kind of getting used to the fact that there's now 18 games, and it's especially if they're coming from a college season where they're probably playing like 10 to 12 games. Now all of a sudden you realize there's a big bump in what that looks like. We should add to this group, obviously as well, Leak as well adds to what that looks like. So there's lots of depth within the group. There's lots of guys who can step up. I'm still waiting to see a little bit more Leak and Rankin in the backfield together, which I think adds a whole nother dynamic. You see little sprinklings of it maybe a few weeks ago, but those two together in the backfield, especially in a split back kind of set, if one leaks out, then it usually what tends to happen is that the Sam linebacker tends to take like the number 3 receiver. But if one is leaking out, and maybe it's Rank leaking out, and then now it becomes Rankin against their MAC linebacker, and usually their MAC linebacker is the worst cover guy. So can you imagine Rankin on a MAC? And that's when you can kind of make a whole bunch of neat things start happening from an offensive standpoint.
I would totally agree with you. Two dynamic playmakers who make that defense think. I think that would be a really good little wrinkle that this team could and hopefully will get into their game plan at some point. Rick Walters, longtime CFLer, Grey Cup champion, joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look on the defensive side of the football and we'll take our look around the CFL. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and YouTube, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
For a silly hockey fans, your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Crispy caramelized edges, a pillowy, airy center. Meet the new Papa John's Pan Pizza. Made with Parmesan and Romano cheeses, Papa John's special garlic sauce, and Italian seasoning, all baked directly into the bottom of the crust for a signature golden finish and crispy, savory crunch. Grab a medium pan pizza for just $16.99 today at your local Papa John's. Order now in the app or at papajohns.ca. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
Pride of the North Side and a man about town. Listen to the Tom Gazzola Show, weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Edmonton's home for sports. Sports 1440. Be part of the conversation. 833-401-1440.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. And don't forget about our employee pricing. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Want to invest in Alberta's workforce, fill your talent pipeline, and get funding? Careers, the next generation connects employers with motivated, pre-vetted youth through funded internships. Easy, impactful, and risk-free.
When you work with a group like Careers who have experience in that area, they can demystify and navigate all the complex steps and stakeholders that have to be involved.
Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Allen Olson Auctions invites you to bid on the 2026 Rimbey Pre-Harvest Consignment Sale, open right now through August 18th at allenolsonauction.com. Don't miss this massive auction sale featuring an impressive lineup of machinery, including tractors, combines, haying and harvest equipment, tons of new and unused skid steer attachments, trucks and trailers, construction equipment, sea cans, tires, and so much more. Call Alan Olson Auctions at 403-843-2747 or visit alanolsonauction.com and bid now.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beer from all over the world, plus a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, streaming on YouTube at Sports 1440 AM. And head over there, get into the chat, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Longtime CFL Rick Walters hanging around, joining us for this entire hour as we talk some Elks football, of course, both around the CFL. But, you know, there's just so much to get to from that game on Saturday. And one of the things that I've seen, Rick, is just a trend here with this organization since Ed Hervey took over, and especially this year, is that when a player goes down, I don't really panic because I'm more intrigued now to see who steps up and who gets into the game and what they do. We've seen it on the defensive line a little bit here. Gavin Meyer out of USC, when he gets in there, he seems to be making plays. The middle linebacker position, the depth has been incredible. Offensively, at least at the skill positions, they have stayed pretty healthy, so we haven't really seen much of that. But we did see Therese Reed get in there at the Sam linebacker spot, and honestly, thought he looked pretty good. Made a few tackles, maybe a step behind to play here and there, but obviously it might be one of the tougher positions in the CFL. What did you make of Therese Reed's game getting to the first regular season start in the CFL?
You know what? That would have been, in all honesty, that would have been the first name I would have talked about. He did a great job, especially just stepping in and playing. He was impactful. He made plays, broke up on balls. And the bigger part that you love to see is that he was okay throwing his junk in there. So he was coming downhill a couple times on, you could see him block down, or they had a couple screens and he was coming downhill. And he doesn't, I don't think he's a big dude, but he brings the hat, and he did a really good job, especially that, like I said earlier, that Sam linebacker is a tough spot to play. And whether he was on the weak side, they're up the weak side of the field at 2 weak and a couple times 3 strong. He did a really good job in terms of looking quick and moving around. Now, it's interesting how Ed has kind of changed how the makeup of what the team looks like from, say, that 2015 team where they had long, athletic DBs. Now I would say they're a little bit smaller, whether it's Jackson, whether it's Reed, but super ultra quick and ultra aggressive and like little pit bulls kind of biting around on your ankles all over the place. So I thought even from a conversation standpoint, we could have started with the defense today because they were outstanding in the game. Turnovers they created, the ability to make Toronto just feel uncomfortable with what they're doing throughout the game. So it was neat to see. Yeah, great to see what that looked like.
100%. And yeah, it's kind of interesting you bring that up. I remember like the Richard Sherman era where they're always trying to find that 6'2", 6'3" cornerback in the NFL. And what do you think this group brings with, having that type of mentality? Like as a former offensive player, when you went up a guy like a Therese Reed or say a JJ Ross on the outside who had 2 interceptions and the forced fumble, like what are the challenges those guys present?
Well, I think they're all a little bit different, and you're right. Ross had a great game as well with the picks. He was fantastic. I think what you're able to do, you can play and kind of roll with smaller guys if you have a great defensive front, and I think that's kind of where it starts. Carney is a much larger human than I thought he was, even when he was playing in Saskatchewan. He's a big dude. And I think they do a really good job of between Carney and Taylor just coming off the edges and make the quarterbacks feeling lots of pressure. I think JC Sherrod has done an amazing job from from a coordination standpoint, especially a younger guy, second year doing it, getting a feel for the game, come and cover zero when they need to, backing off when they don't, and kind of seeing what the flow of the game is, what that kind of feels like. And obviously you got to start with your interior guys. And I think Brinkman's done a good job. And like you mentioned, Mayer has done a good job stepping in as well. But if you have a front four that can create pressure, now you can have smaller DBs that kind of buzz around and are making plays, sitting back, and they can get aggressive on concepts and on routes. And we haven't even mentioned Ford, in all honesty, and as a Canadian starter, being able to be a national and changing a ratio and stuff like that. He does a great job at the wide field. He's quick as all get up, and so I think you kind of saw probably their best collection of the game this past game, where kind of all facets were doing okay. It took a little while for maybe the offense to get going to the second half, but defense kind of held it down for the most of the game, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, they've been incredible. And one of the things I was looking at earlier on in the year, and I'd have to go back and check how it went against the Rough Riders and the Montreal Alouettes, but in the third quarter, the defense just wasn't allowing touchdowns. And I think that a lot of that goes to your defensive coordinator and making those adjustments. But yeah, they've been incredible. And you mentioned Tyrell Ford, 5 interceptions now this season. And I could probably count off the top of my head 2 or 3 more that he probably should have caught. Just mistiming his jump or just kind of falling through his hands. He's been outstanding for this team. JJ Ross on the other side as well. I mean, we've seen this secondary really start to gel, haven't we?
Yeah, no, and that's exactly one of the things. Continuity is great when people are making checks in the back end, and you kind of can hear it or see it right away, and they have an idea what they're trying to do from a leverage standpoint. And I think a good part of that is, like I said, continuity, but it's also JC getting comfortable with what they do well, and putting them into those kind of situations to continue doing that. Toronto offensively is super one-dimensional. They're past first, second, third, fourth. There is no, like, they run just to say they got a couple of runs off. That's not something that they're going to stay committed to. And so you kind of just let your defensive line kind of feast on what that looks like. So defensive line is now, they're coming off the ball, trying to get to that apex point of the quarterback, whether it's 5, 7, 8, 10, whatever the launch point might be. And if they happen to play the run on the way to the quarterback, then okay. But for the most part, CFL teams want to throw. Toronto brings it to a whole nother level. And so when you're that one-dimensional, then you can kind of build a plan around what that looks like. And they did a great job of D-line getting after it, and then the DBs kind of squatting on things, being aggressive at the top of routes, and making plays.
Rick Walters joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. Rick, of course, played in the CFL for a long time here in Edmonton, won a Grey Cup. We saw some turnovers as well. The forced fumbles, I thought JJ Ross must have been watching Charles Tillman. The peanut punch was executed to perfection. And then Austin Mack for the Elks lost the football. We saw pregame, they were kind of, one of the coaches was kind of going to punch the ball out of the Alouettes receiver's hands. And I know that's something that's obviously stressed a lot. Ball security, job security goes hand in hand. But on a weekly basis, from your playing days and coaching, how much is going into ball security and making sure you're holding on to it properly?
Well, you do a lot in training camp. You start in training camp, and it's a big focal point of what that looks like. I would say it becomes less and less as the year goes on until it becomes an important piece. And you lose a couple of fumbles, and then all of a sudden it's back to the practices. I think good teams make that they're part of their identity as to who they are. You can see that the teams that want to get after the ball, that isn't just something that happens on game day. That's something that has to happen through the week. It has to be part of your practice plan, either to secure the ball or you're getting after it. Guys either punching at it or trying to strip it, pull it through. And so it does need to become part of who your team identity is. And all you got to do is go down to a practice, and you can kind of see if is getting after the ball part of who we are, or do we just talk about that in media sometimes? So again, if it's stressed, usually that old adage, you are what you show you are. And so just give 5 minutes of practice and you'll be able to see what who's stressing it and who's not.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise when you look at the statistics that Joel DeBlanco tied for the top spot on fumble recoveries. He's flying all over the field. He's got 2 recoveries, as does Malik Carney and Cordell Jackson. And yeah, I mean, you watch them Edmonton Elks. I think probably common in football, but for them especially, they're getting helmets to the ball and having guys reaching in there trying to rip it out. So it's been a really encouraging sign, I'd say, so far for the green and gold, coming off a big win and really shutting things down for the Argos. Now they'll turn their attention to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Friday night. It's a 7:30 start. Love that. Should be a fun one under the lights. What do you look at this Winnipeg Blue Bombers team, Rick? And I know we're still a few days away and preparation awaits for both sides, but what's the keys to victory for this upcoming matchup?
I think defensively they got to keep doing a good job getting after the quarterback. I think Claros doesn't like to get hit like most quarterbacks. And if you can hit him early, then you start seeing shadows and ghosts and you start throwing into places where you really don't want to throw to. If you can make them one-dimensional and get after Olivero, and make them have to be a throwing team, and then, like I said, get after Claros a little bit, then it's a little bit easier. Winnipeg used to have the most ferocious defense, and that was a little bit when Jefferson was probably in his prime. He's still a really, really good player, and they still get after it. But you can see that there have been some liberties taken on their defense over the last few weeks. So they're not the same team that they were like 3-4 years ago. So you can get after them a little bit now, kind of on both fronts. I think, like I said before, Claros is not the same quarterback he was, and so you can get after him a little bit. So I think this is a game that you go in thinking Edmonton should do pretty well in. Like the things that Edmonton does really well, Winnipeg does not do as well. They get after the quarterback pretty good, and I think Winnipeg's O-line can be had. I think that the Elk have done a really good job of stopping the run, and so I think if you can get that and make them into a one-dimensional team, kind of like how they did with Toronto, then it makes it a little bit easier.
Rick, I don't know if you saw the CFL.ca mid-season all-CFL team. The Elks sprinkled in there. You had Justin Rankin at running back, Austin Mack, and then Carter O'Donnell at offensive guard. On the defense, it was just Tyrell Ford. Probably not a surprise there. Any notable omissions you would say for the green and gold? Did we lose Rick?
Notable omissions? Yeah, no, I'm still here. Notable omissions, maybe it's hard because I would have thought maybe Carney would have been close for me, but it's probably right where it should be. Maybe Ford on the back end just because he's leading the league in picks. But yeah, I think it's probably pretty close. It's probably pretty close to where it should be.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Actually, I think those guys, and Ford is there. He is there at the corners. So
he was okay.
Yeah, pretty accurate group. The CFL.ca will give them the thumbs up of approval, and we'll see what happens in the second half of the season. Rick, we'll take our final break here of the hour. When we come back, we'll take a look at some other forms of football, a little NFL, some flag football, great weekend for Canada, and more. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Tap into the fun of Play Alberta's most popular casino games. From the fast-paced spins of Cash Eruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild, online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta-exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
It might have been scraped by the snowblower, dented while door crashing, or crunched at the company Christmas party. At some point over the winter, your car was damaged and it's been hiding under a coat of winter grime.
Then come and see Robertson Body Works. We can take care of the damage and the dirt. This week only, call and book a repair and get a complete auto detailing absolutely free.
But you have to book your appointment before the week is up. Go to robertsonbodyworks.com.
I'm Tim Robertson, and I fix cars.
Ford employee pricing is back at Nisku Ford. Pay the same as Ford Motor Company employees. Plus, get the benefits of being a Nisku Ford customer. You'll have the best selection of new Ford vehicles from our great lineup of SUVs, from Bronco Sports and Explorers right up to the Ford Expedition, and Ford trucks from the Ford Maverick, Ranger, F-150, and Super Duty. Ford employee pricing is the biggest event on the Nisku Ford calendar. But hurry, it won't last forever, and inventory is limited. Take advantage of employee pricing today at Nisku Ford. Above expectations.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Try Papa John's new medium pan pizza with crispy Parmesan and Romano crust topped with Italian seasoning. Only $16.99 for a limited time and only at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.340, welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. The Daily Grand tonight, tomorrow, the Lotto Max, $50 million. And then on Wednesday, you got the Lotto 649 worth $14 million. PlayAlberta.ca. Remember, use your game sense. Connor Halley, Rick Walters here, taking a look around the world of football. Of course, really great taking some time to talk about the Elks and, upcoming opponent with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But Rick, we expanded a little bit more here. And on the international level, it was a great weekend out in Dusseldorf, Germany, as both the men and women's flag football team qualified for the Olympic Games in Los Angeles in 2028. The men finishing in third position, while Canada's women's team knocked off the United States. A bit of a shocker there to claim the top spot. Before we discuss this, so you ever play any flag football after your playing days?
You know what? I played when I was in university. I went to Simon Fraser, and I used to come back and I'd play flag football, in all honesty. After I was finished playing, I was good moving on from playing football. I was good not getting hit, even if it was just touched. But flag football is an amazing sport. It's probably the fastest growing sport in the world, really. There's young people that are joining in all the time. I actually coach the U16 Team Alberta flag football team, and so a young ladies team, and it's amazing to see the growth and what that's looked like over the years. To see how many young people are getting involved. You can be big, small, large, thin. It's a non-contact sport, and it's amazing to see how the growth has happened, especially in northern Alberta. I think it was probably 3 or 4 years ago, there was maybe 15 junior high schools that are involved in just Edmonton. Now I think it's well over 300 that are involved. So kids are playing at all levels. There's a high school league. I think this year they're working on trying to get it sanctioned as a provincial sport that would have provincial championships and stuff like that. So, and then you can kind of see the extension of what's going on across the world. So it's neat to kind of see it evolve.
was gonna say, so you have coached this. Was the popularity there at the time when you were coaching?
No, not then, but it is now. It is now, and you like just to see the athleticism and what guys are doing, and you can see. It's funny. It came up the other day. I think it was during Pro Bowl week when they had an American team USA play against NFL stars. So Brady was a quarterback, and a whole bunch of I think it was recently retired guys were playing. And the Team USA team just waxed them. I think they beat them by 20 or 30. And it is a sport that is so different than actual like NFL or CFL football. You think it'd be the same, and there's a lot of similarities around catching the ball and maybe throwing the ball, but there's so many different elements because there's no contact. So the way you get open and how you avoid people is a ton different than you would in a normal football game. So it just breeds different type of athletes.
Yeah, I mean, it was Darryl Doucette, the American quarterback, who I think, I'm probably paraphrasing here, but said, I would be better on this team than Patrick Mahomes. And a lot of people kind of lost their minds hearing that. But you watch him play flag football, and I saw that event that you did, and it's a different game. Like there are differences, and he was pretty outstanding, actually. He was quite the athlete. So, yeah, I'm curious to see when we get down to it closer to how many, CFL, NFL players get into the event. I know Nathan Rourke had talked about playing in the offseason to try to get that one. And I mean, if he's going to lace him up and go out there for Canada, you'd be foolish not to at least give him a look, right?
Well, you think so. They have Michael O'Connor right now who played in the CFL for a little bit, was an amazing youth sports quarterback. And he does a really good job in terms of what that looks like. I saw Rourke do some things, and there's some things quarterback wise that are the same, but there's just so many little nuances within the game that people just take advantage of, and you kind of have to play it and understand it a little bit to be able to do that. But it's fun to watch, fun to be a part of, and neat to kind of see the growth, how young people are just by every day just signing up to try and to get a part of it. It's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. I used to coach some kids that were getting into it, and I've got a little guy at home. Obviously, he's a few years away from this, but that's where I'll be putting him into. I want to get him into football and get out there, run some routes, have some fun. And you just look at maybe on the women's side here. At first glance, I'm sure a lot of people would say, the Americans probably going to be a powerhouse, but the women won gold. I mean, they handled their business. It's a bit of a surprise, but do you think it should be a surprise, or are they going to be hanging around? Do you think it's going to be competitive when we get to LA?
I do. What they've done a really good job of is the system in Quebec. Quebec does an amazing job. They've made it a priority within their province to be good at flag football, in all honesty. So they're kind of the path, like leading the path across the country. You see the majority of the people that are on the women's team, Canada team, is from Quebec, and so they're developing pathways right now. So they have club teams in universities, so they all the way up. So they're playing all year round. They have a club championship for it. So Quebec is kind of leading the way, and you can see the rest of Canada starting to kind of get on board. Ontario is a great flag province. Saskatchewan does a good job, and even at nationals, you can see little places like PEI and Nova Scotia, because really you only need 5 or 6, maybe 7 really good athletes that are coming from that area to play. It's 5-on-5, and so if you can, you get 8 good athletes from your province, then you can hold your own against like larger provinces and centers and teams, and that's kind of the neat part about it. So, and it's a cross sport. I've seen people who dance that are great at it, people who play hockey that are great at it. It's kind of an opportunity for a lot of different sports to filter into what this looks like.
Rick, it's funny. You mentioned some of the provinces that really thrive in football. I played a little touch football after high school, just trying to stay active. And we went to a tournament out in Saskatchewan, Regina more specifically, and I could not believe how good they were. Like I had to play in the secondary. I was getting absolutely torched, play in and play out. Took myself out of the game. Like couldn't run with them. I felt like a Ryan Gosling and Remember the Titans. I just couldn't keep up. So it was a humbling experience, but it's really cool to hear that on the women's side, Quebec kind of leading the charge here. And I'm fired up to see, not only the players who make that jump to play, but just the overall tournament. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think some of the international teams might actually surprise us. Now, Canadian junior football over the weekend, pretty good for the local teams here with the Huskies and Wildcats both picking up wins. For the Wildcats, we were a little worried after their week 1 start, but a pretty nice back performance.
Yeah, no, a little worried would be a small statement, but they did an amazing job coming back, and that's kind of the great part about junior football is that things can change quickly. Traditionally, the Hilltops have been the standard by which everybody across Canada is measured by, and so if this is a measuring stick for the Wildcats team, then you're really, really excited about what the potential looks like for the rest of the season.
And then I believe it's going to be this upcoming Saturday, Huskies versus the Wildcats. Huskies 2-0 on the season. You coached the Huskies for a bit, right?
I did, yeah, we did. And junior football is a beast within itself. It's you have a collection of young men that are coming together that some are going to school, some aren't going to school. So they're coming from different backgrounds and really they're just staying in it for the love of the game. And so they get together and you can see that, the passion that they exude when they play and stuff like that. And then a Huskies Wildcats game will be must-see TV, especially with them, both coming off pretty successful weeks.
Yeah, Jasper Place Bowl Saturday night too. Should be a fun one as well. Now, let's go look at the NFL. And I saw a tweet over the weekend. I wanted to get your opinion. It was from Daniel Jeremiah, a longtime scout, now an analyst, I believe, with the NFL Network. And he said, as this old scout once told me, preseason is a liar. It helps to see guys move and react, but be careful drawing conclusions overall. When you watch the preseason, how much stock are you putting into it when it comes to the NFL and even the CFL?
Well, it's funny. I think everybody puts a lot in from fantasy football perspective. Yeah. Everybody's trying to scour the stats and the box scores to see what late round picks they could get before everybody else. It's not fun. One of the things that I looked at was how right when I started playing, the CFL and NFL were really, really close in terms of salaries and where it was at. I know everybody thinks that's probably like 100 years ago, but it really wasn't. And one of the big things that changed for it was fantasy football, and fantasy football and video games, and that changed the ability for people to now bet on the sport and to follow the sport. You have young people now who really don't know who players necessarily are, but they know what their fantasy football value is. And so when it comes to your question about preseason, I really do believe that it does provide people an opportunity just from a viewership and eyeship to see how younger people, because that's really who's playing in the preseason, guys they have questions on are younger people, how they might, extrapolate throughout the rest of the season. So from a fantasy football perspective, that's where it comes into play. But I would say his comments pretty bang on in the fact that the only thing you're going to get from preseason is to see who cannot play.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good indicator. And I will say, as a fan of a team, like I've been guilty of that, hyping up a player and then the regular season hits and it doesn't quite pan out the same. You mentioned fantasy football, Rick. Are you in any leagues this year?
Oh yeah, I'm only in about 20 or so. So yeah.
So if you had the first overall pick, you going Gibbs or Bijan?
I actually took Bijan last year. I had the third pick, and I took Bijan, and he had a great year. So I think I'm going Gibb this year if I had the first overall pick. I think Detroit, now that Montgomery's not in Detroit anymore, I think Gibb he's got that backfield by himself, and he's going to get all the goal line touches, which is, if you got a running back. It's funny because a big fantasy value in Canada is the quarterback with the third down being a yard away and how like Stevens in Saskatchewan. But in the NFL, they don't roll like that, and so the running back, especially if one who scores touchdowns, is a massive value. So I think Gabe will have a ton this year.
Rick, let's just go back to the CFL. I want to ask you a little bit about your career. Obviously, you played for a long time, played with some really great players. Who was in your opinion, the GOAT of short yardage as a quarterback?
The GOAT of short yardage as a running back or quarterback?
Let's say quarterback, and if you want, you can throw a running back in there as well. But we've seen the Elks miss a couple occasions. We know the guy in Saskatchewan's very good. Who's your greatest of all time?
Wow, from a short yardage, it probably would have been my favorite player growing up was Jim Germany, but I'd probably say like a Neil Lumsden or something like that was probably the best short yardage back. From a quarterback perspective, I'll stay with the former Eskimos, and I think Tracy Ham did a good job in terms of what that looks like. I got a question for you, Connor, though.
Sure.
How do you feel about the whole debate? And I don't know if it's a debate. If Stevens was to break Milt Stiegel's touchdown record.
I mean, I wouldn't love it. I mean, it's almost like we're getting into like with the NFL argument with the tush push, and obviously they still count and all the same, and they're incredibly efficient. But one person took the much more difficult route to get there, right? Milt Stiegel, obviously, running downfield, making plays, finding ways to get open. I don't want to diminish the opposing player or anything like that, but you should be able to score from that close, right? Like if we're on the 1 yard line and you have a yard off, I mean, I think it should be not automatic, but pretty close to it. So
I agree. I think if anybody signed you and I up, we might be just a couple behind Stevens right now in terms of where his mark is. It's a neat thing to do and to be able to do it really well, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if once he starts getting closer and closer to that record, what happens.
Well, I think you might be a little bit closer than I would. I'm just going to be trying to hang on to the football. That would be the biggest concern for me. I've never taken a hit from a professional player, but I'm glad we're on the same page with this one because, yeah, that's just that's a little bit crazy. The old man in me does not like that one. Rick, thanks so much for doing this today. Really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again next Monday recapping the Elks and Bombers.
All right, thanks, man. Have a great day, man.
You as well. That is Rick Walters, longtime CFLer, member of the Green and Gold, and a Grey Cup champion. Great having him on. The knowledge goes well beyond the CFL, right? Talking a little touch football. I'd be curious, for the parents out there or even people that might play. Are you out there? Did you sign up your kids? Like, we know, we've seen it a lot. The long-term prospects from playing football, not always good. You just have to go to the CTE page on Wikipedia, and you see all those NFL players who've been impacted by it. Like touch football might be the way to go. Flag football for the kids, at least, just to get them started. I know at a certain point, the physicality is something you do have to learn, but why not get the fundamentals down at a young age? Playing touch football, flag football, I love them. Deck, did you ever get into flag football after your high school days? Never.
No.
That was
been fun.
2-time provincial champion in touch football. You know what team I played for? The Raiders.
No way.
I wore a Chargers hat once. They said, never wear it again.
I was thinking about doing a Declinations top 5 most iconic logos in sports. You Raiders are in there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good. Yeah.
The Raiders gear, like not just, as a sports fan, but as a fan of.
Oh, for sure.
Pop culture.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Ice Cube repping that.
Yeah. They made it cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's kids in the mall that I think just wear those hats because they look cool and because NWA did.
Couldn't name a player, but
but it's a cool logo. Yeah. What else would be in there?
Yeah, I mean, you
don't want to spoil it.
No. I haven't done it. I don't have any real plans to. We can do it right now. This is fun. I hadn't really thought about it too much past the Raiders. I feel like the Cowboys star would be in there, and then like maybe the Lakers logo. But after that, I don't know. I guess the Yankees had to be in there.
Yankees, like the NY or the actual logo?
No, like the NY.
The NY, yeah, it's classic. Is the Celtics in there? Or is that just me? Like, I think the Celtics logo is pretty cool.
Would you say it's top 5 most iconic?
Probably not. Honorable mention.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too.
The Blackhawks logo is great. Love that one.
It's a good one.
The Raiders, Raiders is great. I always tell my buddy who's a Raiders fan, like when you get Chargers Raiders, that's an elite uniform matchup.
Yep.
Very easy on the eyes.
One of my favorite teams to do a Madden franchise fantasy draft with is the Raiders, because you just get to build your own team and the really cool jerseys.
Yeah. I mean, I would never do it, but I get what you're saying. Would you throw Notre Dame Fighting Irish in there?
No.
Not the ND?
I don't think I would.
What if you went like international, like in a soccer team?
See, that's what I was trying to think. Like Real Madrid, but that I even though when like I said that, picture Real Madrid's logo. Like, can you do it?
Vaguely. I was
Right?
kind of thinking
That's
like the
right?
crest of like Liverpool or something.
Yeah, like Man U might be the one that jumps to mind for a lot of people.
Longhorns, Texas.
It's a good one. I don't know. It's a tough list to crack.
It would be.
Honestly, this discussion just firmly like that solidified that the Raiders are in there.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I'm looking at a list and they have the Raiders at 20.
No, that's who wrote that?
I don't know. Bleacher Report. The Raptors are 21. That the Raiders and Raptors, respectfully, I love one, I hate the other, are not in the same category.
Oh, is this their article from 2014? Oh, you know what though? To be fair, the Bulls actually might be in there.
And what happens when you turn the Bulls logo upside down?
It's like twerk. It's a crab or something.
And a robot as well.
It's like a dancing crab robot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or other things. We'll discuss it during the commercial break. But before that, let's get to a Sports 1440 update with Mr. Declan Kruger, brought to you by HireGood. We solve real problems for business while creating real impact. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. Go to hiregood.ca. HireGood, stable jobs, create stable lives.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
One final today in the MLB. It was the Cards over the Reds 2-1. Coming up next in about 5 minutes time, we're going to see the Orioles and the Rays. Then in 40 minutes, we'll see the Marlins and the Phillies and the Cards Reds in game 2 of their doubleheader. Late games in the MLB tonight, we'll see the White Sox and the Cubs at 6:05 and the Dodgers and Rockies at 6:40. CJFL Prairie Conference results from this past weekend. It was the Wildcats over the Hilltops 28-22 out in Saskatoon. The Edmonton Huskies beat the Winnipeg Rifles here at the JP Bowl 38-28, and the Regina Thunder over the Calgary Colts 27-9. One game in the WNBA, we'll see the Wings and the Valkyries at 8 o'clock. And the big news today in the sporting world, the NBA has found no evidence showing LA Clippers owner Steve Ballmer funneled money through team sponsors to pay Kawhi Leonard. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
It's Dollar Drink Summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
For all your welding supplies, think AWS Welding. Located in Nisku, their readily stocked storefront carries a wide variety of welding glasses, cylinder rentals, plus welding rod, wire, and consumables. Same-day delivery is always available. And if they don't have it, AWS Welding will find it for you fast. Visit their online store today at awswelding.ca or give them a call or text at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. They make it happen.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Kickoff is coming August 21st. Elks, Blue Bombers at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. It's Country Night presented by Innova. Dust off that Canadian tuxedo and bring the hockey talk to the field. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable, call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Ford employee pricing is on now, and you pay what we pay on virtually our entire lineup of Ford vehicles. Visit your Alberta Ford store today.
Your old golf clubs are suddenly worth a whole lot more. The Callaway 2x trade-in bonus event is happening now through September 8th at the Leduc Golf Club Pro Shop. Trade in your old clubs, and they will double their value, giving you up to $825 towards brand new Callaway equipment. Experience the unmatched performance of new Apex irons, Quantum drivers, or the Rever Rise series. Don't miss this limited time offer. Upgrade your game at the Leduc Golf Club Pro Shop today.
Canadian Tire's Back to Class Big Red Sale is on. Save up to 60% on our can't miss big deals.
Oh, that's loud.
Exactly. So they can't miss it.
Exclusions apply. Ends August 20th.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the Garden, rotator cuff tears, and tendinitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Now, quickly, Deck, no one else will know. People online won't be able to tell. What song was that?
That was Let's Hear It for the Boy by Denise Williams of Footloose fame.
That is a grocery store soundtrack song, if I ever heard one.
No, man. No.
I worked in a grocery store, man. I heard that all the time.
That song specifically?
Oh, buddy. That type of music, they love it. Actually,
I don't know. You heard a lot of like The Middle by Megan McCain, like someone like that.
Trainer?
Something, yeah, no,
Good.
but it's like, you know, the song's like The Middle. And I pretty much just nailed it, by the way.
yeah,
It's in fact
I do
that
know
bad.
that.
They play that one in like Forever 21's grocery stores all the time.
Man, I went to...
This one was 1984.
I'm telling you, that's like, that was their genre. I went to Save Line once and heard like a electronic song. It blew me away. Maybe they hired a new DJ to play across all
Dude,
their
just
stores.
like as kind of a quick sidebar, the best tweet I've still ever had was $1 trillion opportunity for someone out there, a gym that doesn't play the worst music of all time.
The bar is low. Just don't play music. Everyone has headphones in.
No, but dude, it's like actually shocking their ability to play the worst music of all time.
Well, I haven't been to a gym in years. It shows, unfortunately. The Jason Gregor Show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. You can go get Connor's Connect. What does that mean? It means you're taking the Braves, Cubs, and Dodgers to win. Parlay or Dex selects Paige Becker's over 19.5 points and the Dallas Wings to cover the spread. They don't even need to win, but if they can lose by 6 or less, you're walking away with a nice little payday. Remember to use your game sense. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, and Mackenzie McLennan with you here. We are going to get to the roundtable where those two present a topic, an argument, whatever it might be, and we discuss it. Declan, would you like to go first?
Yeah, so I'll lead this one off. I don't know if you guys saw today, but FIFA dismissed its COO, Chief Operating Officer, Kevin Lamore, for criticizing FIFA President Gianni Infantino. And so what I wanted to bring today to the table is that FIFA, in a world of corrupt organizations in sports, sits atop the throne as the most corrupt and really kind of, I don't know what the exact phrase I'm looking for is, but maybe despicable sports organization. And the NCAA, you guys would be up there. The IOC, you would be up there. I think Hockey Canada, in a lot of respects, can find itself up there. But no one is as formidable at being a scumbag through and through as FIFA.
You want this one, Mac? Yeah, I really can't disagree. Oh. Mic's on.
Mic's on now.
Okay, there we go. Just trying to silence me, Declan.
I'm like Kendall Roy. We must overthrow the system that oppresses women.
Thank you so much. But yeah, it's hard to argue with you there because we see a ton of corruption in basically every organization for each major league, or not every organization, but you know what I mean. And FIFA seems to just get away with it in every way possible with everything that happened in Qatar. And then also this year with like the hydration break. And it just seems like they can just keep doing it. Like, I don't know what needs to happen in order for them to not or have some kind of change. And it's just crazy. Yeah. How they keep getting away with the craziest things.
Yeah, it's awful. It really is. And I mean, it's greed. And how much money do you really need to make off these sorts of things? And we saw, what did they say? It was 6,500 migrant deaths from the construction of the Qatar stadiums. Like, and they were paying these people no money. I know that's not, I mean, that's a direct relation there, I think, to the World Cup and the greed you're seeing. And, you know, you question them and you lose their job. It's brutal. You almost, to enjoy the World Cup and so many more events, you do have to find that line and separate, you know, the beautiful game from the awful organization that's currently in charge. And yeah, Beck, I mean, it's sketchy. It's tough to hear those types of things. And, you know, nothing's changing though, right? They're just going to keep collecting the cash.
Yep.
How about you, Mackenzie? What do you got today?
All right. So from a front office sports article today, the visibility of NFL wags like Madison Beer, Taylor Swift, all of those ladies, so far a part of this preseason, are a part of a coordinated effort by the league to scale up female-focused content, which I like, but the way they're rolling it out is slightly insulting to females, because as a female that watches a lot of sports, I don't need the wags there and all of these prominent pop culture females to be the focal point to be interested in sports. You just need to have a little bit more intent behind it. And why wouldn't you try and focus more on who's already watching and why they're watching instead of trying to just throw the wives and girlfriends of these guys?
Yeah. Like, as an extension of this, let me ask you this, because you're a woman in sports media. When you saw the Toronto Raptors put out that video, great job, by the way, guys, of Jacqueline and I forget the other girl's name, talking about the schedule release in terms of like Bachelor. Like, what did you think of that?
I can't say I saw the video. I haven't been on Twitter all day.
You go watch that, by the way. They got killed for it, as they should. Again, just nailed a bang up job, guys. I don't know who that was for, but you killed it. But like, if I was a woman in sports seeing that, I would have been, I think, just so insulted that that's what not just like the team, but the perception of me as a fan is. And I think that's this is to a lesser extent of that, lesser degree than that. But I do think it's two sides of the same coin, if you will. Like the only reason you can be interested is because of this other thing that we just feel like relates to you more. Like, I don't know if that's the best way to go about things. Like, because I think like, if that gets, I'm sure that's gotten some new fans and that's cool. And like Taylor Swift bringing her fan base, which to be fair is probably like the biggest fan base in the world you can find over, that's cool. But I think generally speaking, it needs to come from a point of genuine interest. And things like this that force it, I don't think is always the best way to go about it.
Exactly. And it reinforces the stereotype that females are only going to watch things because they're good-looking guys or because there's a pop star there or they don't actually care about the game, when that is not the case. And to just like bring it back to like the Taylor Swift thing really quick, she actually like influenced a lot of people to actually like watch football. And I've seen a lot of people online.
I didn't watch my first football game. Till she showed up.
Exactly.
So,
Taylor
there you
Swift
go.
effect.
Yeah. It's a good question. I mean, because, geez, also on the flip side, Justin Herbert introduced me to Madison Beer. I got into her music now. Now I play it.
Not me, brother.
Randomly in the car. She's got hits. But
I was well aware.
The NFL probably was licking their chops when they saw on the podcast where Travis Kelce brought up Taylor Swift and like asked her out on the date or whatever. However it worked, their marketing staff was like, okay, we got to take advantage of this one. They don't care how they get new viewers. They're just going to do whatever it takes to get new viewers. They're the most dominant sports league in the world as a professional sports, not counting FIFA, those sorts of things. It is a little insulting, I would agree. If you are a female who enjoys it, using those things to try to grow the game, it's like, we don't need that. We just need to watch the game. But I do get it from their perspective, and it is a little bit shady. But I also think that it's not just the NFL, but you're seeing it like, who put that video of Justin Herbert and Madison Beer out there? It wasn't the Chargers. That's just fans, right? Like, they're doing it too, like, because they want to get clicks and grow their brand. And that video went crazy viral. And, it's leading to my guy getting just ripped on. But it is interesting. If it works, do we hold it against them? If that campaign of maybe there was a statement, CBS, you got to show her 5 times. It's going to bug some of our current viewers, but they're not going to change the channel. But it's going to get new eyes on the game. Is it a bad thing? Is it bad if it grows the game? And maybe a little insulting to some, but if it gets new viewers, I'm sure the league looks at it as a win.
Yeah, I can't really say that like it is a bad thing because anytime I watch a Chiefs game, I'm like, I hope I'm seeing Taylor. Like, I want to know what her outfit is.
I would almost push back on that because how sustainable is that model? Like growing the game in that sense. Like there will inevitably come a point, I would imagine, where like these fans you've brought in for a specific purpose, once they feel those needs are no longer met, are going to bow out of being fans.
But you're not losing fans. You might only gain.
But I would again push back. I would wager that you risk alienating a certain part of the fan base that already exists and not playing into the sustainability of these new fans you're trying to bring in.
I think that their belief would be that if you watch football, you'll fall in love with the game. But like, do you know anyone who stops watching because of Taylor Swift? Like, to me, if you do that, you're not a real fan.
I'm sure there are some.
Like,
literally grow up.
But like the base of the argument isn't like grow up or not. The base of the argument is the sustainability of fans, right?
If I like the way some of these fan bases are, like Taylor Swift, Madison Beer also has a very strong fan base. And if those are the fans that they're trying to cater to, as long as her and Justin Herbert are together, they'll be watching.
Yeah, like again, like I pull this. I pull this. Like I don't think it's a bad thing as a I'm just kind of playing. Like I just think these other concerns are worth mentioning. But I almost pull it back to the Elks thing, right? Like they basically went to a huge portion of their fan base and said, like, we don't want you guys anymore. You're too old and you're too white. We're going to go other directions. And they suffered for a long time because of it. Now, this isn't on the same scale, and it's also not a singular organization. But I think there is something to be said for catering to one demographic who, like, candidly, no disrespect, but probably doesn't care as much historically. And I don't think we're banking on them to be the monetary pile drivers of the future. Like, you think women are going to, like, you think 22-year-old women are going to overtake 35 to 49-year-old white men of the economic powerhouse of the NFL?
No, like the
those guys
financial
are so
irresponsibility of a 22-year-old girl.
Yeah, but but for decades and decades to come, they're going to be driving gate revenue, and that all of a sudden the ads we see, we're going to stop seeing Buffalo Wild Wings, and we're going to start seeing L'Oreal, like that just being a kind of a sexist example. But you know what I'm saying, like, you know the point I'm trying to make.
Like, we're not losing fans because we show Taylor Swift on the big screen every once in a while, right? Like,
now
I don't know if we're still on air right now.
There's a chance we're not on air. The entire studio just went dark. If we are on air, please let us know.
Declan's sexist comments might have been for not.
But you guys have to admit you see the point
I get what you're saying, but I also don't think that if I'm a man watching football, I see Taylor Swift, I'm like, cool. And then if like my sister's like, oh, Taylor Swift was at the game, that's kind of neat. Like, it only, in my opinion, grows the game. I get what you're saying about the green and gold, and what they said was stupid, right? It was a bad thing to do. Obviously, it didn't help, but it gets eyes on it. And I don't think they've gone overboard. Like they haven't been like, okay, Taylor, you're flipping the coin toss. And then you're going to do speaking at halftime. And then you're doing the Super Bowl halftime show, right? Like she's just there supporting her husband or fiance. So
yeah. And like, don't get me wrong. There's nothing more than I want than my girl to be interested in football so she can watch it with me. It's been a dream of mine for many years now. And I'm still holding out for her to get on board. But
yo, I'm digging this. I'm watching us on YouTube now. My face is popping because of the computer screen. Declan, you look like
it's so scary.
You're in the
Being here
background
right
there.
now.
It is. It's really quiet. There's like we don't even have that gentle hum going on with other things. So we'll try to keep it going here. We're getting a lot of feedback saying, "Hey guys, you are still rolling on here, still live." Okay, great. Thank you. Propane P. Apparently, some Edmonton football fans stopped watching because the nickname changed. They did, Propane P, 100%. Like that's undeniable. They lost a lot of good fans. They also talked about how their old fan was, predominantly older Caucasians. And I had nothing wrong with the point they were trying to make. Like the point was we have to try to get new, the younger generation to come watch football games. But why attack a fan base or a group of people that support you so much? Like it was just so misguided when they did it. MTR says, if they show them on camera, I don't think it matters at all. But the constant talking about it on a broadcast is what can get annoying. And yes, that can get annoying. I do think it's like Mackenzie said, like, oh, sometimes you see the post or the picture of Taylor Swift in the crowd. Like, that's kind of cool. Madison Beer for sure. She's got 40 million Instagram followers. It doesn't hurt in my opinion. And the Swifties, man, when Tierre Tart slapped Travis Kelce, Tierre Tart was getting threats from Swifties on his Instagram. He like posted a picture of him mid slap. Chargers fans loved it. I've already seen Madison Beer fans now like defending the Chargers and things like that. So it is funny how it all goes together. And hey, we're going to enjoy it and hope it grows the game because the NFL is great. Okay, we'll take a break here. When we come back, we are going to talk some Ottawa Senators. We'll head out east. Interesting offseason for the Sens. And still to come on the show, we got Speck. We got Teresa Walker. We'll talk some Tennessee Titans. Lots to get to. It is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Are you a skilled laborer? All Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience? All Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience searching for work, search All Star Construction on Indeed.
Starting this Thursday, 3 days only. Don't miss the VIP overstock sale at Wolf GMC Buick. They're seriously overstocked with over 400 pieces of inventory on clearance and ready to move. Explore the entire inventory right now. Click on the clearance tab at wolfgmcbuick.com. Plus, employee pricing continues. And during the VIP overstock sale, stop in for even more special incentives. That's Thursday through Saturday at Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Now's the time to shop with the Bricks 0% event. Get what you need today with absolutely $0 down. Pay nothing with no interest until 2028, or choose 36 equal monthly payments on qualifying purchases. Plus, save up to 25% on living room furniture, up to 20% on dining and bedroom furniture, and up to 40% on select mattresses. Hurry into the Brick today. These incredible offers are only on until August 19th. The Brick, saving you more.
Tap into the fun of Play Alberta's most popular casino games. From the fast-paced spins of Cash Eruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild, online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta-exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Everything is going to be okay. If your debt has you feeling like you're in a free fall, you have options. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. Becoming debt-free is possible, and a personal bankruptcy or consumer proposal will get you there. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. You'll learn how a consumer proposal allows you to eliminate your debt by paying a percentage of the amount owed without interest. At Faber, we'll tackle your debt.
Albertans love to debate the best way to enjoy summer sports.
No. Playing on the field is the best, man.
No way. Watching from the sidelines, way more relaxing.
You're both crazy. Checking out the game from the bro zone is where it's at.
But there's one thing every sports fan agrees on.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
Wherever you catch the action, load up on Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Election Day is October 19th. Are you referendum ready? Start by making sure you're registered to vote and your information is up to date, especially if you've recently moved or changed your name. Then, check if you have the identification you'll need to vote. The easiest option is a government-issued photo ID showing your full name and current residential address. But there are more than 50 ways to prove your identity. Find everything you need to be referendum ready at elections.ab.ca/voters. A message from Elections Alberta.
They say if you look good, you play good. So why not upgrade your golf wardrobe at the Leduc Golf Club Pro Shop sale? They're slashing prices on all your favorite in-stock gear. Grab a new pair of shoes, a new glove, or pick up a fresh polo and accessories for up to 20% off. Don't wait. This sale ends soon. And when the inventory is gone, it's gone. Gear up for less at the Leduc Golf Club Pro Shop.
Mr. Worldwide.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Ewell. Helping you finish your electrical project is their goal. From pod lights to electrical panels. Hey, we can use some of those right now. The gear you need is at ewell.ca or in person at one of their Edmonton area locations. Ewell.ca, your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Jason Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Tough to read the notes in here. If you're watching on YouTube, we lost power. We lost lights, but we didn't lose power, obviously. We're still going here. We still have Wi-Fi. My laptop's still charging, but we don't have lights or a loudspeaker or TV. So it's a weird situation here in the Sports 1440 studio, but thanks for joining us. If you want to go check it out, head over to YouTube. Check out Sports 1440 AM. Now I got to get a flashlight here to read my liners here. So we are going to go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. If you haven't had one yet, go check the new Red Bull energy drink thing they have. It is really good. Also, coming up soon, the most wanted menu items from around the world have landed in Canada. Now the McDonald's World Menu Heist at select restaurants. Hurry in before we have to give them back. Only at McDonald's. And they have an Australian item. I did confirm is a real item out in Australia. My sister said you probably want to give it a go because it is good. As we head out to Ottawa, we're going to talk some Senators with Alex Adams, covers the team for Sportsnet. Alex, good afternoon. How you doing today?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I will say Steve Stais had a power outage during his free agency kind of avail, so I'm used to this. So we're good. We're good.
It's yeah, I mean it's not insurmountable. It's a little dark in the studio, but
okay.
We'll power through it. How's your summer been so far, Alex?
It's been good. It's not much happened here in Ottawa in the summer, of course. Just a little trade, maybe a little captain gone. So yeah, it's been interesting, but a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be an interesting year for the Senators with Tkachuk out the door.
Yeah, I wanted to bring you on. I mean, that's kind of the primary reason, and it wasn't a bad season by any means for the Ottawa Senators. 99 points. heck, if you're in the Pacific, you win the division. That's not the case, unfortunately, for the Sens. But to move on from your captain and to trade him in division to a team that had won 2 of the last 3 Stanley Cups, it kind of gives me the vibes that they were desperate. Like they were needing to make a move and get this guy out of the locker room. Was that the sense from Sens fans and maybe the players you spoke to?
Yeah, I mean, he clearly wanted out, and there's been some rumors that, let's just say, his family had made it known for a while that he didn't want to be in Ottawa for a long time. And I think it's unfortunate because I think he could have been gone down as one of the greatest Senators of all time. And now he's going to Florida, and he's just, one of the many. And I think about kind of, I'm a big basketball fan. I think about how, KD joined the Warriors and no one gave him credit for anything after that. I think if Brady succeeds in Florida, it'll be very similar to that, where it's like, cool, you just tagged along with your brother and joined a super team. But he wanted to be in Florida. And I think for the Senators, I think the players, let's just say, are quite, I'm sure if you could give them truth serum, they'd be pretty amped up to show up him when he comes back to Ottawa in early October. I know management, Travis Green said he was a bit angry and hurt by his departure. So unfortunately, for a long time, Sens fans had been trolled that he was going to leave. And unfortunately, sometimes the trolls are right. I think most of the time they aren't, but in this case they were. So we'll see what the Senators are. But I think they're not as bad as people think they will be with the loss of Tkachuk, because they had a really good group around him when he honestly didn't have that great of a season last year, and they still made the playoffs and were a really good team.
So what did you make of the return? Was that about as well as you could expect for a guy who was kind of on the way out?
I think the fact that they got a 9th overall pick in a pretty good draft, and obviously they flipped it for Eklund. So if you think about it, you got William Eklund, who's 23, has 2 50-point seasons under his past, and 2 other first-round picks and a second. That's a pretty good haul for a guy that only wants to go to one place and has only 2 years left on his contract. So, in my opinion, I think Steve Staios did I don't know if phenomenal job is the right way to describe it when you trade your captain away, but considering he said he didn't want to stay in Ottawa, and honestly, I think it was better for them to kind of rip off the Band-Aid now rather than wait if they know that he was going to leave. So I think Staios did the right thing, and I think fans in Ottawa don't have that much animosity to the ownership or front office because they solely see it as their captain quit on their team, and that's about it. And I think they're honestly quite right.
Alex Adams of Sportsnet joining us here, taking a look at the Ottawa Senators. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. So, probably not the most important thing, but you like to have that face of the franchise, the captain who leads the team, speaks to the media, all that sort of thing. Is there anyone next in line, or do you think one of those years where you just have a couple of guys wearing the A?
I talked to Steve Staios. It does seem as though they are going to have a captain, and they haven't committed to one person or leaned in one direction. I think the likeliest 2 outcomes are Jake Sanderson or Thomas Chabot, and Tim Stützle is like flailing as the third. I think it's one of those 3 for sure. I'd be shocked if it was anyone else. I think Chabot might have, the upper leg just because he's been with the franchise forever. He's unbelievable with the media. Like, he's really easy. He's a pro's pro. He's beloved in the room, and he's kind of paid his dues. And I think the only thing that's holding him back from that is he only has 2 years left on his contract, so you don't really know what his future holds. And I think for Sanderson, I think he should be the captain because he's, in my opinion, it's him or Stützle are the best player on the team. Really easygoing, very likable, and he has the longest amount of years left on his contract. So he's going to be here in Ottawa for a long time. I know a lot of people are saying he's American. Why give a captain another American captain? The captaincy in Ottawa, but he grew up in Alberta. His dad's Canadian, played in the NHL. Like, he's a Canadian American. It's not the same as the Tkachuk situation. So I think it will be one of those 3 and likely Sanderson or Chabot, but I don't expect them not have a captain next season when the puck drops.
Alex, we saw some reports earlier, I believe today, actually, Bruce Garrick putting out there that Drake Batherson was looking forward to getting an 8-year extension before the deadline ends for that. I mean, pretty good season last year, 33 goals, 38 helpers. He is 28 years old. So, I get why he would want that. That's the security you want. Do you think it'll happen?
I think it will happen. I think the interesting part is the term. I think we're probably going to see. Oh, and the lights have regained us.
Yeah.
I think with Batherson, I do think the interesting thing is he's looking at tuck money, which was about 10 times 8, and I think it's going to be in that vicinity. I think it's for the Senators, like, at the back end of that deal is not going to age gracefully, and are they trying to get 6 or 7 year deals, but maybe a bit higher on the AAV. So I think that's where we're going to kind of land. But I do think Batherson wants to stay in Ottawa. And I think the Sens really feel they have to keep him because they just lost their captain. They don't want to rebuild. And so you might have to bite, a bad contract in the what. But I think that's where the organization is right now, and they want to get it done. And I think ultimately it will, but you never know until a deal is signed.
What are, some other reasons Sens fans might have some optimism, some players to look forward to this year with a captain leaving?
I think, obviously when your two best players are Tim Stützle and Jake Sanderson, they're not at the level of Leon and Connor, but they're really, really good players who are only entering their prime, both in their early, 24 and will be entering their 25 years. I think Jake Sanderson could honestly be a Norris Trophy candidate next year. He is that good, so good defensively, and his offensive upside is just every year he gets better. He's going to be in the 65, 70 point range likely next year. So he's just an absolute stud. You have their decor is really good. You have Shabbat. Jordan Spence was a revelation, got a nice contract, and his analytics are really good. And I think he's a really, really good, effective, winning hockey player. And we'll see what Carter Yakimchuk will do as well. But I think their blue line's really good. I think the one player that'll be really interesting to see what he turns out to be is Dylan Cousins. He obviously was in the trade from Buffalo for Josh Norris. He had a couple down years. He had a really good year last year, almost 30 goals, almost 60 points. But we've seen that there's that kind of these big troughs with him. It's good play from him where he scored over 30 goals when he was 21, and then some subpar years as well. So I think if he plays really well, and he has in the past, he could be kind of the determining factor of whether the Sens are a legit playoff team or whether they're kind of in the mushy middle and fighting for a playoff spot.
Alex Adams of Rogers Sportsnet joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, talking some Ottawa Senators. Connor Halley sitting in for Jason. Now, between the pipes here, Linus Ullmark, we know last year took the personal leave. From what you saw, maybe at the start of the year versus the end of the year, did it seem like he was in a better space?
Yeah, I mean, talking to him, he definitely spoke about how much, essentially to paraphrase a little bit, like if you're feeling better mentally, you're going to play better and kind of be more locked in. And his numbers basically after he came back from his mental health leave compared to the before and after is like a day and night in terms of how well he played. And then in the playoffs, he was spectacular. He has never played 50 games in this single season. So obviously last year, a bit of a different, situation with the mental health leave, but kind of his durability as he gets older into his 30s is going to be the question. And he's been, goaltending is always volatile, but he in a Senators uniform has been really good and really bad within the same year and sometimes within the same week. And I think for the Senators, who were, I think, third or fourth worst in save percentage last year, if they can just be in the middle of the pack or maybe even like close to like 10, top 10 in the league in save percentage, I think they're a playoff team because defensively they gave up the third fewest shots allowed last year. Travis Green's an excellent coach. So with Linus Ullmark, if you watch his post-game pressers, he can give you a great story and he could be quite an interesting human. And I find that kind of translates a little bit onto the ice where you never know what you'll get with him. And sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not so.
Last one for you. General Manager Steve Staios, beloved here in Edmonton for his time with the Oilers. We're coming up on the 3-year mark since being hired November 1st, 2023. I just want to ask you, what have you thought of the job he has done and his approach to building up his team?
Yeah, I think he's done a really good job, honestly. I think, what grade would I give him? Maybe a B+, A- in that realm. He's had some misses, but the fact that he turned a team that was a perennial underachiever into a playoff team in his first 2 full years, I think he deserves a ton of credit. And I think, his moniker is that he's Steady Steve here in Ottawa, that he's very calm, calculated. I think overall he's kind of adhered to that. So I think overall he's done a fantastic job. And we'll see how this next couple of years go for him, because I think with Tkachuk out of the way, we're going to really see whether how good of a GM he is, because there's going to be a lot of turnover, and the team is now essentially his rather than kind of in
It's not the
between.
first time. Nope. Alex, sorry, we lost you there for a minute.
Oh,
maybe yeah. So we just got kind of the grade after the grade you had given him.
Yeah, I think he's done a really good job, all things considered. Especially his predecessor kind of nuked like the assets and the team in a lot of ways. Like he didn't have a lot to work with, and he's made the playoffs in his first two, full seasons. So I think he's done a really good job. But I think now with Tkachuk gone, we're really going to find out how good of a GM he is, because now the team is essentially his. It's not, his predecessors, and he's trying to kind of pick up the scrap heap and figure it out. We're going to find out how good he is. And I think, he's made a couple questionable decisions this summer with Burakovsky and Urson as coming in as the backup in a top six forward. But I think he handled the Tkachuk trade really well. He's brought in Allmark. That's mostly been a success. The Cousins for Norris trade's done well. So I think overall people like him, people believe in him. But I think what's going to be interesting to see is how does he kind of propel this team from pretty good to really good and hopefully great. And I think that's the toughest challenge. And I know he wants to become a cup contender, but it's much easier said than done. So we'll see how he figures it out.
I just got a text in here from DJ. Wants me to ask you about Xavier Bourgault, the former Oilers.
Awesome dude. I've talked to him a couple times. Really nice guy. He had played a couple games for the Sens and played really well. So there's a chance that he gets some NHL minutes, but unfortunately for him, the Senators have, it feels like 59 middle six forwards and a lot of guys that play in depth positions on the fourth line. So hopefully Xavier Bourgault gets a chance, but as he did last year, but I don't feel like there's a clear cut room for him to make the NHL, but you never know with injuries and how well he played, but he played really well in Belleville. So really good kid and rooting for him just on a personal level.
Okay, great rundown, Alex. Really appreciate your time today and enjoy the rest of summer. I know you'll be back in the rink in no time.
Thank you so much.
There you go. Alex Adams covers the Ottawa Senators for Sportsnet. Give him a follow on X at AlexAdamsBTP_. Also a host of the Sick podcast, the Sens Spotlight. So go check that one out for sure. We lost him for a second there. Timing couldn't have been worse. It was right when I took a drink. I was fighting through it, but appreciate Alex hopping on the show and getting us through there. Good little rundown. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Like we said, like for Steve Stajos to have your captain just say, yeah, I think I want out. And then this is where I want to go. Your time today, and it's in division, and it's a really good team. Doing what you can. Obviously, the process was a little smoother for he than Dylan Larkin and the Detroit Red Wings, who still haven't found a way to make that one work. And heck, maybe we're set for a reunion, but the Ottawa Senators, we'll see what happens here. Text rolling in 1-833-401-1440. Mr. Maris says, my preteen girls will watch a football game if Swift is there. No interest if she isn't involved. Well, there you go. Maybe they'll fall in love with it. Maybe, Mr. Maris, you got to get a Chargers game on. And then they'll see a real football team after tuning in because of Taylor Swift. That could be the key. We'll take a break. When we come back, 5 questions with Declan Kruger. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Thinking of growing your business? In partnership with Prairie's Can, the Alberta Chambers of Commerce is helping businesses explore new opportunities, new markets, and build connections through organized trade missions across Canada. Find the right mission for you at abchamber.ca/trade missions.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit japaequipment.com or stop our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
Do you know why people love working at GS Construction? It's honest work. It's work that needs to be done. And we're really good at what we do. That's why GS Construction has been in business for over 50 years. We won't be wearing a top hat and tails, more like hard hat and boots, because we're heading underground to keep the water flowing in and out of your homes and businesses in Edmonton. GS Construction is currently looking for experienced pipe layers and top men. Visit gsconstruction.ca/careers today.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Action Electrical solar team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy, designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Your weekend hotspot is at On the Rocks.
Party with Edmonton's best bands every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And we got them all.
From the Varkels to Tallboy, Radioactive, Curves, the Brute Squad, Morningwood, Roxilla, Punch Buggy, and more.
Plus, the guy who keeps the party going every weekend. DJ Kenny K on the ones and twos, live.
Get ready to have a good time this weekend.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Here's what you need to know about Lux Windows. We work hard. We come in early, we stay late, we go above and beyond, and then we go a little further. Not for awards or a pat on the back. We work hard so that choosing our windows and doors is an easy decision for you. It's the Alberta way. It's the Lux way. Everything we are is windows and doors. A company born and bred and made in Alberta.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Portions of this hour are brought to you by CanTorque. Made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at CanTorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It's 4:44. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Tonight, it is the Daily Grand. Tomorrow, Lotto Max worth $50 million. And then on Wednesday, you've got the Lotto 649, estimated $14 million. PlayAlberta.ca. Remember to use your game sense. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, and Mackenzie McLennan with you here in the Sports 1440 studios. Lots of text rolling into Mackenzie's topic on the Roundtable. MTR says, really, it's no different than an NBA game when they show Celebrity Row or UFC, and they show the celebrities in between fights. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just kind of cool. I wouldn't, maybe not to the extent that if you were, like, you could bet on Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl and how many times you would see her. Like, if it's hyped up and you knew that she was going to be there. And realistically, am I off base to say she's the biggest celebrity in the world? Like, who?
I think, like, globally, Ronaldo is more famous.
You think so?
Yeah, like, for sure.
Take it to Instagram. Who has more followers?
Ronaldo by hundreds and hundreds of millions.
There's that many people in the world? Hundreds and hundreds of millions?
Dude, I think this is, again, kind of one of those North American things where we don't always grasp, like, how big Ronaldo is.
Dude, but Taylor Swift would go to cities and it'd be like a multi-million-dollar boost to the economy.
Dude, it's Ronaldo.
Yeah, he's not even the best soccer player. Taylor Swift has 273 million.
Cristiano Ronaldo has
670. Okay, all right.
If this is how we're deciphering fame, the most famous thing out there is just Instagram, because they have the most Instagram followers.
Those two are very popular.
Shout out Selena Gomez, by the way.
Yeah,
she's got a lot of followers as well.
Man, on the topic of celebrities, rest in peace, Hayden Panettiere. That was so sad last night.
I saw someone post it on Instagram. I thought it was like a joke, and I was like, "That's a weird joke to make on your Instagram story." I could not believe that one.
Man, remember the Titans? We were just talking about that like last week. Cheryl Yost 36 years old, way too young. That was really, sad to see. Did you watch Heroes?
No, I never got into it.
I heard the first couple seasons were really good. Never got into the rest of it. Kind of a depressing way to get into 5 questions, but just wanted to pass along our condolences. Deck, let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. The Sleep Better sale starts Thursday. Save 40% on Sealy Crown Jewel Resort mattress. Get sheets starting at just $49 and buy one pillow, get the second for just $10. Only at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
Okay, question number 1. Kevin Woodley was on today. I know he is going to be on breaking this down across the divisions in the NHL for the next couple of weeks here. If you had to give your best goalie tandem in each division, which would you pick? Who would you pick, I should say?
Whomst would I pick? Well, who am I to against Kevin Woodley? I mean, when you talk about the goaltending guru, I'm going to go with the Rangers. I guess I'll have no choice but to go with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Even though we talk about as a duo, I'm still going with the best that I know. The Central Division, I feel like, could be a bit of a toss-up because you've got Connor Halley, who I think is an absolute stud, but the tandem in Colorado got the job done incredibly well last year. So I guess I'm steering away a little bit. Ottinger's a heck of a goalie, too. I'll go with the Avs, the duo. You said tandem, so I'm breaking away from my previous answers. And then the Pacific. Oh, man. Say the Oilers. They're going to bounce back strong this year with that group. I don't know. I guess if they're healthy, Thatcher Demko's damn good. But I don't like that rest of the team. The Flames, I don't know about Wolf yet.
Oh, man. Is it the Flames?
They're okay last year. The Pacific draw. Redacted. Nobody. I don't know. Let's say the Oilers and hope that puts it into the universe and Tristan Jarry and Freddie Anderson have a heck of a season. Who do you got?
I'd go the Rangers. I think I would go the Stars in the Central.
Rangers good.
I guess, yeah, and Casey DeSmith serviceable. Atlantic, I probably go the... Do I go the Lightning as well? I guess. And then the Pacific, man. You know what's crazy? While you were sitting there, like talking it through, I couldn't even remember some of the Pacific goalie tandems, like all the way through. But oh my days! Yeah, I'll say Edmonton too, man. Why not? Question number.
We'll just put it into speak it into existence, right?
Exactly. Question number 2. Do you believe there was no malfeasance in the Steve Ballmer, Kawhi Leonard, LA Clippers situation?
Sorry, I just went back to look just like rankings, how people have it. Top 10 goalies, not one Pacific Division goalie. So we're not totally crazy here to have some debate, confusion. Like that in itself one day could potentially be a debate. He had to rank the goaltending. And maybe that's going to be like the best edition yet for Kevin Woodley. Any malfeasance? It's a big word.
Oh, by the way, Central, I take it back. Definitely Minnesota.
As a tandem?
Yeah.
Like Wallstedt, yeah.
And Philip Gustafson.
It's a pretty good group. Okay. I think so. There had to be. They were doing something shady. But I again, with this whole situation, I feel like the NBA, by not finding anything, is it maybe saving face? Like you don't want one of your guys who, by most accounts, has been really good for your league in Ballmer, like came in, did all these great things. Kawhi Leonard, or star player, plus it's one of your franchises. I don't know. I think there had to be a little bit of shady stuff done behind the curtain. What are you thinking?
Yeah, like I think there had to have been.
But like,
I don't think it was just 11 months of like whoopsie daisy.
Well,
nothing to see here, folks.
We're at 11 months of investigation and they didn't find anything. Like, I don't buy that. I think there is something, but they're just not gonna out them potentially. And also, if this is the case, how long before Kawhi gets officially traded to the Raptors?
Mm-hmm. Right, because they got to get on that and make that like officially official.
Yeah.
Like, teams got to have their rosters in a row. And like, if this is how they see it fit, like there shouldn't be a holdup anymore. So question number 3, will Jamal Adams play another game in the NFL? And if so, how many?
It was his knee injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
Non-contact?
Quad this time.
Quad? Non-contact.
Did you see the video? He just fell like a bag of bricks.
I mean, I'd like to see him play Blitz Boy, as he was coined. 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. I wanted the Chargers to draft this guy so bad when he came out. Was he 6th overall at LSU?
And he remembers everyone who's picked ahead of him.
Good for him. You gotta stay loyal to that one. I will say he will. I think for a guy like that, he's well traveled. And don't mean this to be like an insult, but he played for the Jets, Seattle, Tennessee, Detroit, Vegas. Now he's with Minnesota. If he wants to play, I think he will get back into shape, and I think he'll have a coach somewhere that will say, "Hey, we'll bring you in. We'll give you a look." Does that lead to games? I'm going to say, yeah, maybe in a reduced role. So I'll say he plays in not many, because I don't think he holds up, but like 6 games.
And it would all have to be next season or later too.
Yeah,
like
because he's done for the year.
Yeah.
I think like he's got to be well respected around the league to the point where someone gives him a look. And then, but does he want maybe a diminished role where he's out there on special teams? I don't know. Maybe he still has that desire to rush the passer. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he'll play again, but I think it'll be like 6, I think is actually a really good line. Like, I think it'll be under 10. Maybe I'll say 8 rest of his career. Plays another 8 games.
I hope so. Despite the memes thrown in his way, like I'm rooting for him.
Question number 4. Islam Makhachev set the UFC record for most consecutive wins with 17 this past weekend as he defended his welterweight title against Ian Gary. Where does he rank all time for you in terms of UFC fighters?
I'm thinking if I were to put a list together, like John Jones, love him or hate him, one of the GOATs, GSP for me, great. Anderson Silva. I mean, I think there's a few names in there that I would hold a little bit higher. But if you were to tell me no lower than 10, no higher than 6, I think I could deal with that one. So that would be the ballpark for me. Now, where do you have him?
Yeah, I think that's a good range. I think probably in the top 10. I don't know if I could put him in the top 5. So, math guy, that number has to fall somewhere between 6 and 10. So I think that's a good spot for him. Cool. If not, just outside that. But I think you'd be hard pressed to find 10 fighters who are better than him.
Who are your locks ahead of him?
Well, John Jones, GSP, Demetrius Johnson, Anderson Silva. Although when Anderson Silva, like when you had to start pissing clean and he wasn't able to do that anymore, he started losing, a little bit more frequently. So that has to, kind of come with an asterisk, but I'd still put him ahead of Islam. And then I think you can have debates. Like Khabib isn't as well rounded, and he probably retired earlier than he should have, but he lost like 1 round his entire career. So just based on dominance, I would put him ahead of Islam. Then I think there are what Daniel Cormier did. His only losses were to John Jones, the double champ status as well, defended the belts. I'd probably have him ahead of him. And then I think it's then I think you got a real debate that Islam could be right there.
One of the names I threw your way, because I remember the buzz around him, and he never made his way to the UFC, Fedor Emelianenko.
Mm-hmm.
What, if you were taking it away from UFC and just mixed martial arts, how high would he be?
Yeah, it's a funny one because he killed it in Pride, killed it. And then they finally got him over to America and they got him in Strikeforce and he won his first Strikeforce fight. Well, he was in Affliction before that. But my point being is they got him over here in Strikeforce and he immediately lost 3 straight fights, all 3 of them by stoppage, 2 of them in the first round. So and he fought some legends and he was an incredible fighter in his prime, but it's not like he shouldn't have been that over the hill by the time he got here. You know what I mean? And the fact that he had such a bad run against overall, I can't even call it like a step up in opponents, because he fought some really good guys over there in Pride, then in Affliction when he first got here. But it's just like, it's a pretty significant asterisk. Like, it'd kind of be like if you had a really, really good KHL player, and then they came to the NHL and then like had 3 straight 20-point seasons and then went back to the KHL, and it was like, well, okay, we kind of saw you in the NHL and it didn't look great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing surrounding him. Question number 5. Who was too high and who was too low in the first edition of the AP poll this year?
Alabama Crimson Tide, way too low, Dak. They got to be way higher up there. As you know me. I think they're my team this year, but I'm not quite sure yet.
To just like cheer for?
Yeah.
It ain't to win it.
Yeah, well, you know, the SEC, it will be back. It will rise. Now, I think Texas should be higher. That would be who I think is a little low. That being said, they're still 5, so it's not like they're in a really bad spot. I'm not a believer in the Trojans. 9-4 last year. I feel like they've let me down too many times. So I think the Trojans would be a little too high. What do you got?
I actually think Miami should have been a little higher than number 7. I thought they could have made like a legitimate push to being a top 4, top 5 team. Granted, like how big of a difference is there between 4 and 7? It's not like we're debating 6 and 22. But I thought they could have been a little higher. And then as much as I like them, and I actually do like them, and I'm glad they finally got some recognition, I think 17 for Washington is just, I think that's a bit of a bridge too far for that team right now. I like them, but 17, like that's a little high. And then the other one that I would throw in there is like Missouri getting their annual, here is the 25th spot in the AP poll, Missouri. I just like clockwork and hilarious. And they'll probably go 8-4 with 4 horrible losses and like no wins against teams over 500 this year.
Man, we're getting close to college football season, hey?
It's right around the corner. August 29th, week 0.
San Jose and USC.
First game of the day is TCU in North Carolina out in Dublin.
Got to grow the game. When did they get a college football team? Just got to go to one of their universities, maybe?
The University of Dublin? The Big 12 contender?
Yeah, why not? Let's get it going. No, I'm just joking, obviously. That would be silly, but it's going to be awesome. Can't wait to get it going. I think one of the teams I am intrigued by would be Indiana. Number 6 this year, obviously undefeated last year. National championship. Had an older team, we would say. Mm-hmm. They had Fernando Mendoza really burst onto the scene. I think that's a team to watch. But Saturday morning.
I'm sorry, but it's just so funny to be like, yeah, I think that's a team to watch. The team that went 16-0 and won the Natty last year.
I mean, they're going to have high hopes.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying, hearing that sentence in a vacuum is so funny. Watch out for Indiana.
But, what if they just dropped off?
I think they'll take a back step.
Wasn't their average age 25 last year?
Yeah, probably around there.
Starting, I'm saying they're losing people. They're losing a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Indiana, Alabama, bet the over. We're getting some points on that first game. Well, I don't know. It's actually not even, the numbers aren't even that high. But I like when, you're looking over at playalberta.ca and you see one of these college football games and the numbers set at 70.
Yeah.
Okay, they're seeing something here.
Dude, I think one time I saw an over, I think it was 84.5 for a Big 12 game. That was the line.
Then it's 24-24 after the first quarter. You're like, okay.
And then the under still hits.
Setting up nicely. And you still lose. We'll take a break. When we come back, Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet going to join us. But first, an update with Declan Kruger, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. For the remainder of August, proceeds from every vehicle sold will go towards the Summerland wildfire victims. Get a vehicle and support a great cause only at northgategm.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
One final from the majors. It was the Cardinals over the Reds 2-1 in game 1 of their doubleheader, a makeup from May 24th. Game 2 of that doubleheader currently on right now, and the Reds lead 1-0 in the top of the second. 2 other games also in the top of the second. The Marlins and Phillies tied 0-0. While in the top of the fourth, the Orioles and the Rays tied 1-1. Coming up right away here, we will see the Tigers and Pirates. Then in about 10 minutes, the Diamondbacks and Red Sox, as well as the Padres and Mets. And the late game tonight, we'll see the Dodgers and Rockies at 6:40. CJFL Prairie Conference scores from this past weekend. It was the Wildcats over the Hilltops 28-22 out in Saskatoon. The Edmonton Huskies beating the Winnipeg Rifles 38-28 down at the JP Bowl. And the Regina Thunder over the Calgary Colts 27-9. WNBA action tonight, just one game. The Dallas Wings in Golden State to take on the Golden State Valkyries. And from the sporting world, the big news of the day, the NBA has found no evidence showing LA Clippers owner Steve Ballmer funneled money through team sponsors to pay Kawhi Leonard. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Hey, hon, I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos. For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
Wondering what you can afford?
Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure,
No awkward convos.
just quick answers on your budget and payments.
Bad credit? No credit? We got you.
Text check to 780-777-7777.
That's check to 780 all sevens.
Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Tee up for a great day on the course and support the Stony Plain Eagles Senior Men's Hockey Club. It's the Stony Plain Eagles Golf Tournament. Gather your foursome and join the Eagles August 25th at the Links at Spruce Grove for a 2 p.m. shotgun start. Enjoy a fantastic afternoon of golf, great company, and friendly competition, all while supporting the Stony Plain Eagles. Get all the details and register today at stonyplaineagles.com.
Crispy caramelized edges, a pillowy, airy center. Meet the new Papa John's Pan Pizza. Made with Parmesan and Romano cheeses, Papa John's special garlic sauce, and Italian seasoning, all baked directly into the bottom of the crust for a signature golden finish and crispy, savory crunch. Grab a medium pan pizza for just $16.99 today at your local Papa John's. Order now in the app or at papajohns.ca. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned. Over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by 01 Athletic Care, Edmonton's multidisciplinary health clinic at West Edmonton Mall. Physicians, physio, massage, sports psychology, and more. One team, one roof, one plan. Book now at 01.ca. That's ZERONE.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca tonight. The Daily Grand on Tuesday, Lotto Max worth $50 million, and then on Wednesday it is Lotto 649, an estimated $14 million. You can get your ticket at playalberta.ca or head over to the sports section. Check out the Jason Gregor Show boosted specials. Remember to use your game sense. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Mackenzie McLennan with you here from the Sports 1440 studios. Text line is 1-833-401-1440. Also, if you'd like to email me, Connor at sports1440.ca. Right now, we'll get to the spec report. Brought to you by GS Construction. They're hiring operators, pipe layers, and a superintendent. Worker, a fantastic company that loves to promote from within with great benefits. Also, huge sports fans. Apply at gsconstruction.ca and search careers as we bring in Mark Spector, fresh off vacation from Rogers Sportsnet. Spec, good evening. How are you doing today?
Great. I heard you had Kevin Carrius filling my 8 and 5 spot here last week. Is that right?
We did, yeah. I had to back up the Brinks truck for him to commit to do the segment, but he was in there. You didn't get a chance to tune in. You're off the grid, right?
Yeah, I was off the grid. I'd like to apologize to all of our listeners. I'll never take a holiday again. That's cruel and unusual punishment.
That is the replacement. That's kind of the stick to push you. No more vacations. How was the time away, Spec? What'd you get up to?
Did a little camping here and there. Went out to out by Nordig. We camped and pulled the trailer out there and just spent some time off the grid. Cell phones weren't working. It was awesome. Spent a little time with some grandkids and, just kind of unplugged for a week, man. You just got to get away. Didn't watch much. Got home in time to watch the Elks play Saturday, which was a treat. And other than that, I kept hearing the Jays won every darn night almost I was gone. So they're going well. And now I'm trying to play catch up. That's all.
You know what? If they start losing, we might have to send you back on vacation.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, win-win for sure. Let's start with the green and gold. You got back for that game. And I was telling some of our guests earlier on in the show, like, I think that was just exactly what they needed from a bunch of different perspectives for the team to get back on the winning side of things and doing it in that fashion, kind of dominating as the game went on. One could say they wore the Argonauts down, but also, business-wise, getting people back into the seats. That was a great game. It was competitive for a while. The team runs away with it. Plus, you had some great weather. It's just kind of a perfect weekend for the green and gold.
Yeah, we're starting to see a bit of a trend in how they play. You say they kind of outlasted Toronto, and that's fair, right? It was I think it was a close game at the half. I forget the score, but it was just a few points. I think it was 12 points after 3 quarters, a 12-point Eskimos lead, Elks lead. And then they blew them out in the fourth quarter. And I think they did the same with Ottawa this year. And I think we see, that's a trend we're seeing. And it's all built on the foundation of a defense that allows the offense time to find its way and time to find its footing. In this case, time to find a way to free up Justin Rankin, time to find a few more receivers till you find, you move the ball around enough that maybe the running game gets loosened up a little bit. So, their defense is absolutely, to me, it's a key of everything they're doing, because there is no pressure on the offense. They get a full 60 minutes to get their team up over 30, 35 points. And I'll tell you right now, would they allow on Saturday, Connor, 12 points?
Yeah.
I was saying this morning with Brandon, like, you allow 12 points, you just win every night. So that kind of defense is going to take you somewhere for sure.
Yeah, 100%. It was 11-9 at halftime, so it was anybody's game.
There you go.
The second quarter started to open up, and then in the fourth quarter, you get the pick 6 from J.J. Ross, who that was his second of the game. He also had a turnover. You're really starting to see these individuals on the defensive side of the ball making plays and forcing turnovers, and, you pair that up with what they're doing offensively. Like, we all kind of got our wish, I think, this week. Justin Rankin had 16 carries, but also 4 receptions. That's 20 touches. That's what we wanted, and it led to a pretty big performance offensively.
Yeah, like they've just got a lot of ways to go, and Rankin didn't make an impression in the game in the first 3 quarters, but that they weren't buried. They were still leading the game. They were still in control of the football game, and that's an offense that has some different ways to go. Fajardo ran that one ball for about 45 yards. I thought that was a brilliant play on his behalf, because he's over center. He sees the whole defense is overloaded to one side, and away he goes. And that's just a little something that you put in the mind of the defense that, oh man, even this quarterback runs over here a little bit. I don't know what receiver you're going to key on this offense. They're running like 4 different guys are catching 4 or 5 balls a night. and then a big long pass to your running back in Rankin that sets up a key touchdown. So, you got to give them credit. Like, football's about phases, right? You got 3 phases: offense, defense, specials. They have as good a field goal kicker as there is in the league. Their punters getting the job done. Their coverage teams are good. And Leak has given them the most consistent returns they've had in a long time. So that phase is well taken care of. The offensive phase is, they're putting up 30, 35 a night here. So that's been good. And the defensive phase is excellent. And they're winning the turnover battle most nights. So between the 3 phases and the turnover situation, that's all of those things add up to wins most of the time.
Yeah, and that was a good point, talking about just the amount of receivers that they have. And that's without even factoring in Justin Rankin as a pass catcher. And Cody Fajardo, I mean, you look at what he's doing. He's been incredibly efficient. And no, he's not throwing 60-yard bombs or anything, but he's taking what the defense gives him. He's picking them apart, and he can make all the throws. And you're right. You take away Austin Mack, okay, there's Cephas, there's Luther. They've just got those guys who are stepping up and hanging onto the football, and it's really paying off. I don't know if you saw this afterwards. Pay It Forward Football had a post on social media. It was after the game. Chris Morris stacking tables and chairs field level at the Elks Lounge there on the field. I mean, Chris Morris, to me, he deserves so much credit for what he's done. He's kind of, we say it starts at the top, and obviously the Thompson family deserves a lot of credit. But I'm just impressed more and more from Chris Morris week in, week in.
Listen, you're the president of a CFL club. You're not too big you're not too big to stack a table at the end of the day. And I love the fact that Chris Morris would agree with that statement. Like, Chris Morris, I know Chris, he's just an everyday regular guy. Just because he's the president of a CFL team, he's not big time in anybody. He has really done the job in building the business office there, building the front office, all the people that wear suits, he's responsible for, and all of that aspect is doing well. They're drawing more people. They're selling more tickets. He's hired Ed Hervey, and I'm sure he and Ed talk every day all the time, but he's also staying out of Ed's way and letting him run a football team. And when it's all said and done, all the aspects of that organization that were so that the Eskimo way wasn't just on the field, right? The Eskimo way was in the alumni box, or they have that restaurant in the one end where all the alumni go. The Eskimo way was you could see it in the stands. It was just such a well-run organization on every level. And Chris Morris is helping them find that again, and to go full circle, and the game's over and they've accomplished what they want to accomplish. And here's the president of your team stacking up tables. I mean, I love that, man. I think that's awesome.
Totally agree. As Mark joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, Connor Halley sitting in, and we've actually heard from people. We posted it on our social medias, and people saying this is not a surprise. Like, we've seen this at other games. This is not a one-off.
This is what he does. It's the kind of guy he is, right? I love
He's
that.
not doing it for the praise. He's doing it because he wants to be there to help out.
I think Jerry Jones stacks tables in Dallas.
No, I don't think so. I think he goes the other way. He probably throws them down.
Think Daryl Cates is stacking any tables down at Rogers? I doubt it.
Don't think so. Mark Spector here on the Gregor Show. Now, one other thing, we're just going to heap praise. I'd like to go a step further here with Ed Hervey and what he's been able to do, because you've covered sports, lots of sports for a long time. I've watched a lot of sports, been a fan. Typically, when there's injuries, you're pretty worried about it. But for the Edmonton Elks, I can't help but be optimistic about it, because we saw Therese Reed get in there at the strong side linebacker position. He looks good. We've seen it on the defensive line. We've seen it in the secondary. Whenever there is a player going down, it creates opportunity. And every player, whether, wherever you look on the field, not so much offensive skill positions, because they've stayed relatively healthy so far, but guys are ready to go. And it's Ed Hervey, it is Mark Killam, it's JC Sherritt, having these guys ready to go. And that's just something that I haven't seen in a lot of sports in a long time, where you're having injuries and guys are just ready to go, and they don't look like they missed a step, and they're contributing.
Yeah, especially the CFL is so transient. It's difficult to keep good, talented players around who aren't playing, so that when someone gets hurt, there they are ready to step in for you. Like, it's not there's no money in it for these guys, for one. They don't get paid very much, so it's difficult to have depth, I guess is what I tell you, is my understanding of the league anyway. But like the old Eskimo teams with Norm Kimball as their GM, they were built on going down to the States and having those camps and really identifying talent. And that's exactly what Ed Hervey's doing now. Ed Hervey's, he's not bringing up, remember all the years where they'd announce that 6 guys they signed and they're bringing them up from the States, and then 5 of them would get released before you ever even saw them.
Mm-hmm.
And you always thought, what are we doing? If you're releasing these guys after 2 practices, maybe you shouldn't have brought them up here. And those, that's another aspect of an unsuccessful organization that's getting washed away. Like, the guys they're bringing in can play. And it's exactly showing, Connor. You nail it when you say that, any team that can keep replacing injured players with guys that help you win the next day, like that's an absolutely, that certifies your scouting department. Everybody at Hervey's got looking for people and looking for talent. Those guys are doing the job. They can spot a player. They're not bringing up guys we're releasing after 3 practices or half a game when they get scorched. They're coming in and helping, and that's why you have a good team.
Oh yeah, 100%. And yeah, I mean, we mentioned the scouting staff, but the coaching staff as well, getting them ready to go. Learning the systems, like it matters. They're all doing their job. As we shift our attention to the Toronto Blue Jays, speaking of teams that are starting to do their jobs, and I think since you've left, I mean, the Blue Jays haven't lost a series. You're back now, and it's been big games, divisional opponents, teams ahead of them in the wild card race, although I don't think you're catching Boston or New York, but winning 3 of 4, 2 out of 3. Up next for the Jays is going to be tomorrow, taking on the Tampa Bay Rays, which will be tough. A 3-game set in Tampa before heading to New York. What changes have you seen with this team spec from what you've seen, of course?
I don't know. I don't first of all, what a schedule. Boston, New York, Tampa, New York. Like, Tampa's Toronto's kryptonite, right?
Yeah.
Tampa's been beating Toronto for some reason for 10 years. Don't ask me why. I don't know the record, but I know that it's awful from a Blue Jay standpoint. So, let's hope for the best here in this series. It doesn't start tonight, right? That series starts tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Today's day off. So, I guess what I'm seeing is close games that are kept close by a pitching staff. It's kind of like the Elks. Like, the Blue Jays aren't being required to score 5 to win every night. They're winning on 3 runs. They're winning on 4 runs. They're winning on, they're up 2-1 in the 9th. And that's, like the Elks defense is giving Fajardo's offense time to find itself and come on late and win a football game for you. I think that's exactly the same with the Blue Jays. Their pitching staff is absolutely, my hat's off to them. They're the ones that have the other team with 1 run in the 8th inning. Pitching and defense. Defense has been strong, right? But, as long as you're still in a ball game in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, now who knows what happens? Now you don't need 4 or 5 or 6 hits. You just need 1 really key one, right?
Yeah.
And, I know Vladdy's not hitting the ball at all, but they're finding a hit here now. They're finding a clutch play, Jimenez or Valenzuela, or someone's making someone's getting on base, someone's driving you around. And that's great. But if you're giving up 6 runs, it doesn't matter anymore. So to me, it's the pitching staff. Pitching staff's giving them a chance for this chase for the wild card that all of a sudden is pretty real, isn't it?
Oh yeah, 100%. And yeah, we had Mike Wilner on 10 days ago, and he just said 4 games, 49 games left. Like, that's not that much. They can make it up. They certainly have. But man, if they would, stop wasting Dylan Cease's unbelievable starts, that would go a long way too. Because he's been fantastic, and they've just been imploding when he's putting them in really good.
He doesn't get much run support, eh?
No, and then he leaves the game and they just fall apart. It's been kind of frustrating to watch, but hey, that's baseball. That's Blue Jays. Spec, thanks for doing this today. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
All right, sounds good, Connor.
There you go. Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet joining us as he does every Monday through Friday here on the Jason Gregor Show at 5, and then with Tom Gazzola and company at 8 a.m. Just looking through the text here. Some good ones coming up when we're talking about the old office faux pas. We might have to get into those later on in this show. And in case you missed it, LT eating the top of a muffin today and just left the bottom half in the box. Didn't even throw it out, didn't finish it. Unapologetic. Kind of respect him for it. But we can get some of these more office faux pas as well. As if you're working a 9 to 5, you're on your commute home. So if you've got any good ones, let us know. Maybe we'll try to diminish the act that LT committed today. When we come back, we're going to talk some Tennessee Titans as we continue our look around the NFL. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
It's dollar drink summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hi, I'm Colin Livingston, president of CanTorque. We've been tightening bolts and redefining our industry for 25 years. Yes, a quarter century, and we're just getting started. Check us out at CanTorque.com. Our tools age better than I do.
He's a legend in the booth and a master on the mic. Low Tide brings the banter weekdays from noon to 2. Sports 1440 is where Edmonton talks sports. Get in the game. Text 833-401-1440.
At GS Construction, we won't quit until we find a way to get the job done. And the right person makes all the difference. We're looking for our next superintendent, an experienced leader ready to take on the role. Because while GS Construction is building the water, sewage, and drainage systems Edmonton communities rely on, the superintendent is building up the team. If you know how to keep a job site safe, productive, and moving, we want to hear from you. Visit gsconstruction.ca/careers today.
Tap into the fun of Play Alberta's most popular casino games. From the fast-paced spins of Cash Eruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild, online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta-exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Ford employee pricing is on now, and you pay what we pay on virtually our entire lineup of Ford vehicles. Visit your Alberta Ford store today.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
To always use your game sense. Now we're going to continue our look around the NFL here. It's been a lot of fun. The preseason officially underway. We'll go down to Nashville and talk some Tennessee Titans. The NFL report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home with a no payment, no interest for 1 year on your furnace or AC. Bundle them together and save more at legacyheating.ca. We're going to be joined by Teresa Walker, covers the Titans for the Associated Press. Teresa, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I am doing well, considering that, let's just say the front porch of Satan's playground has arrived in the Middle Tennessee area the last few days. It's warm, shall we say.
See, for us, we're just getting a ton of rain. It's rain nonstop up here, and not in the places where you want it to be, and not where we're being impacted by the forest fires, just in Edmonton for some reason. So we need that middle ground of some sort. When it gets hot in Nashville, I imagine it's a different type of heat.
It is. Let's put it this way. The humidity is such that I've been down on the Gulf Coast where it's supposed to be really, really hot. And I was getting ready to go golf, and the drink girl is saying, "Hey, I'm going in. You need to get something." And it's like, "Well, we're from Nashville." And she goes, "Oh, y'all will be fine. I was just up there last week. It's worse there than it is along Destin, Fort Walton, Pensacola, Florida there." So yeah, it's different because Nashville kind of sits in a cup. So all that heat comes in and it just bakes. I mean, if you walk outside right now, it feels like an air fryer, I can imagine.
I'm not looking to feel that. I think I'm kind of good up here. Like I've been to Vegas a few times in the summer, like July, early August, and that's too hot. Like I'm booking it right into a hotel casino to get that AC. So I wish you the best with that temperature. Hopefully it's okay as well down at Titans camp, as they're looking to bounce back. Obviously, it's been a tough couple years here. They had the first overall pick last year. Cam Ward comes in last year. He goes 3-14 as a starter. Not crazy numbers by any means. 15 touchdowns, just the 7 interceptions, over 3,000 yards, completing just under 60% of his passes. When you look at him at this time last year versus today, what areas of growth have you seen from his play?
Well, it's challenging in a way to see some edges of growth because, I mean, think about it. He's got a new offense, new coordinator. He's got new wide receivers in Carnell Tate, Wandale Robinson. But what you can see is his passes he seems to be more decisive. And it seems like his passes are arriving on receivers more often than not, giving them a chance to catch and run. And, a year ago, it was like a little tick behind some guys. Kind of keeps receivers from being able to take the ball and go. So that's the biggest thing that really jumps at me, the fact that he's giving his receivers chances to make plays.
You look at the offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll, and we'll get to the head coach shortly here, but I know a lot of people had credited the development of Josh Allen to Brian Daboll when they were together with the Buffalo Bills. What do you think he's going to do to try to make things maybe a little bit more simple for the young quarterback?
Well, he likes to do things and see what the quarterback's seeing to help him call plays that fits the quarterback, which kind of sounds simple, right? Mm-hmm. Do what your quarterback wants to do, what fits him, and be on the same wavelength. So that's going to be the interesting part. There's plenty of room for improvement. Okay, Titans were 30th or so across the board in so many categories. But the one stat about Cam Ward that I think gives Brian Daboll and Cam Ward certain ground to step up and go forward, over the final 9 games of last season, Cam Ward was intercepted once. Now, he was sacked, Geno Smith and Cam Ward, most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL, 55 apiece. So it's they've got to protect him. But that's the thing. If your coordinator is talking to you and trying to be on that same wavelength, I know it seems simple, but it just I think it equates to what we're seeing in what I mentioned, him being more decisive and throwing the ball. He does seem to be getting that ball out quicker as well. And I think that all ties back to Brian Daboll putting him in position with the plays that fit his quarterback best.
We're looking at the Tennessee Titans with Teresa Walker, covers the team with the Associated Press, and we'll get to the weapons there down in Tennessee because it's an exciting group. But I did want to ask you about head coach Robert Saleh, obviously the head coach of the New York Jets, and was let go. And I thought he built up a really good defense there, and it was kind of the strength of the team, but they wanted to go in a different direction. When the Titans hired Brian Callahan a couple of years ago, I was a little unsure. So I love this hire for the Titans. What's changed with him coming in here, running his first camp in Tennessee?
Well, the one thing that we'll see once the season really gets going is he wants to call the plays on defense himself. That was the one thing that he learned from his time with the Jets is he wants to be that guy doing that. So, but the whole thing, the thing that jumps out at me the most about practice is real situations. I mean, it sounds simple. We're going to practice first, second, third downs, red zones, and things like that. But what's impressive is the idea that, the offensive linemen aren't hitting sleds the way they did under the last offensive line coach, Bill Callahan, who literally designed his own blocking sled for offensive linemen. So it's just really interesting to watch how, his practices are going. Now, everybody does something a little bit different, so we'll see how this translates. But the whole concept of making sure guys are set so that they're more ready to go into the games. We're seeing it in the preseason. He had his starters play on average 22 snaps on offense, about 25 snaps on defense. Jeffrey Simmons, who all-pro, hadn't played in the preseason in a few years. He played 12 snaps. So this idea of ramping up through the 3 games of the preseason, and he scheduled joint practices with not one, not two, but each of their 3 preseason opponents. That's new. That's where the NFL is going. But, the benefit, these are all teams that were in the playoffs last year. So he is stepping up the competition. He's making his guys show up and perform. Nobody's getting a break. Oh, it's preseason. You can sit this one out. No, you're going to play even if it's just a few snaps. So that's the biggest difference from the last coaching staff. Now, the fun part is they brought in a lot of former Jets players, a lot of former Giants players. Now the problem is they got to show that they can win in this new location with some of the new pieces that they put around them.
One of those new pieces was a 4th overall pick in Connor Tate out of the Ohio State, joining Cam Ward here. Calvin Ridley there as well. You've got the Albertan, Elik Eyomanor. So that's always fun for us Canadians to check in on. But what have you seen from Connor Tate so far at the receiver position?
It's tough not to like this young man. There's a lot of talk when they took him at 4. It's like, oh, well, Jeremiah Love wasn't there because he became the popular pick for them to take at 4 before the draft. It's like, well, they need to go with a defensive player. There's so many of them. And it's like, no, the Titans knew what they needed to do after spending the most money in free agency in the NFL, and they stocked up on a lot of defensive players. They needed offense, and they went out and got Cam Ward, a top wide receiver. The biggest reason Calvin Ridley had been the one, injuries limited him to 7 games last season. He's coming off a season-ending broken leg, and he's on the wrong side of 30. So they invested in a wide receiver, to come in and help him. And similar attitude, hard work, work ethic. He's early to work, late to turn in. He likes to do the grinding part that comes with football. But guys, when you see him on the field, his ability to go up and get a ball and his hands, he's a guy that is usually trying to get both hands on the ball and catch it. He's not somebody who lets the ball get into his body. And there have been a couple of impressive stretching out and grabbing with one hand plays. Those are the ones that make the big highlight reels. But, the ability to go down and get the tough balls is the thing that's going to have him become, I think he's already becoming, but he may be very well Cam Ward's best friend on the field before the season's over.
I would think so. As Teresa Walker joining us here, taking a look at the Tennessee Titans. Now, you mentioned Jeremiah Love, and he looks fantastic in what we've seen. Just got to stay healthy, of course. But the backfield in Tennessee, maybe you're not winning a fantasy football championship with it, but with Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard, maybe I'm out to lunch, but I feel like you can get a pretty efficient run game with these guys.
Well, think about this. Tony Pollard it has some special company in the NFL. He and Derrick Henry are the only running backs to run for at least 1,000 yards each of the last 4 seasons. So, Tony Pollard's kind of quiet. But once the revised coaching staff last year after Brian Callahan was fired, once they took over, they started running the ball, and he still managed to get 1,000 yards in without it being a focus early and often, shall we say. With Tyjae Spears as well, that combo in the backfield, it just feels like we saw it in the opening drive in San Francisco on Thursday night. They were running the ball, and they were opening big, massive holes for them to run through. So, and what's the quarterback's best friend as he's learning an offense? A run game. Backs up the defense, and I'm really curious. I want to see, hopefully Tyjae Spears is healthy for a whole 17-game season. If that's the case, I think both he and Tony Pollard could have some fun seasons.
Now, looking on the defensive side, you mentioned the team did spend some money this offseason. Jermaine Johnson, the second, coming over from the Jets, a former first-round pick. John Franklin Myers, we know how important he was with the Broncos. Just to name a few, how have they looked coming together as a cohesive unit so far?
Well, they're looking good. Now, John Franklin Myers has had a little bit of a low back that slowed him until coming back in the last couple of days. But, Jeremiah Johnson, he's like, I am fully feeling myself coming off an Achilles. It's the second season after a season-ending Achilles injury. And he's like, he's made it clear, I want double-digit sacks. And if he can do that in this defense, then that's going to be giving, it's going to be impossible to double-team Jeffrey Simmons or John Franklin Myers all the time if you've got that kind of pass rush from the outside. Guys, they also took Keldrick Falk, traded back into the first round to get him out of Auburn. They've got Femi Oladejo, who was a second-round pick last year, who has he's changed his upper body and is playing with some serious strength. So this front is going to be the strength of this defense, and I cannot wait to see not just how much pressure they get on offenses, but the different areas that they come from. They like to spread out that defensive line. And I like it. I mean, when you've got four rushing against the offensive line and you've got them fighting in a phone booth, it's like, okay, that's one way to do it. Usually you're having to get pressure from your outside linebackers. Here, they're spreading those four out on the front, and offensive linemen are going to have to be paying close attention to exactly, wait, where is he slid out a little bit further? And I think that's going to really, they had some pressure last year. They were able to generate and get 42 sacks last year, which put them in the middle of the pack easily in the NFL. But this is going to be a tenor setting, tone setting. They are targeting being one of the top 10 defenses minimum in the NFL this season, and that front's going to be setting it.
I did want to ask about Falk out of Auburn there, because I believe it would have been his sophomore year, had 7 sacks. The production dropped off a little bit, but looks the part. How has he been at camp?
Well, he's looked good, and the only challenge is there's just so many guys around they stocked up on defensive guys. There's some guys behind John Franklin Myers, Johnson. I mean, you're like, wait, they got this guy as well? So it's just so deep. So the benefit is he doesn't have to be the guy out there, expected, I have to go get the quarterback, I have to put up big numbers. He can just fit in and do what they need him to do. That's going to be a thing that I think that really, really lets him play to his best. So I'll just say this: he's 270, and he looks lean. He looks like he could seriously put on 20 pounds and it not affect him. I am really curious and cannot wait to watch this young man play this season.
Now, before we let you go here, that division is very competitive. We saw the Jags really take a step forward. Before the injury to Daniel Jones, the Colts looked good. That Houston Texans defense is going to be incredible once again. How do you think this division plays out?
Well, I'll just say this. Every time, I'm the one doing the AFC South picks for, and look at the division that'll be coming out next week for AP. The instinct is to lean towards Houston just because of that defense is so incredible. I still have questions about the offensive line and CJ Stroud for Indianapolis. There's questions everywhere. So the team that steps up and goes will have a chance to make an impression. While the instinct is that Houston wins this division, Jacksonville had very, very interesting offseason, shall we say. There's a lot of confidence in Trevor Lawrence, so let's see that again, especially when they let Etienne go and Devin Lloyd go. And Indianapolis, man, they're expecting Daniel Jones to be back to speed coming off an Achilles. And I know he's run around in practice and such, but that's a big injury for a guy to come off of. So, and he was struggling when he got injured and got knocked out for the season. So, guys, it's the AFC South. They have a knack for sending two teams to the playoffs more often than not. Stay tuned. If the Titans finish third or God forbid, better than that, Titan fans will celebrate. It's been 4 straight losing seasons for them. They're wrapping up the last season in the current Nissan Stadium this year. And they would love to have a chance to send the Titans into their new stadium with a bang. And, this is why they spent a lot of money for and brought in a whole new coaching staff. It did not work 2 years ago. Or 3 years ago, Brian Callahan, they did the same thing. No, didn't work. He lasted 6 games into a second season. It just feels like with as much experience as they have on the roster now, they feel like, Jeffrey Simmons put it best. I want to be back in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Can't blame them. Just quickly, you mentioned the new stadium. I think 2027 set to open. I assume you're starting to kind of see the skeleton, how it's starting to look. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, it dwarfs the current stadium. I was actually in the stadium Saturday night for a Foo Fighters concert and really wishing we were there already with the air conditioning and closed roof system. It's going to be gorgeous. I'll just say this. I've toured it about 3 or 4 times already. The sightlines, I think, are going to be really, really great. You saw the criticism of the new Buffalo Bills Stadium and some seats that are like obscure viewed. I don't think that's going to be a problem in the new Nissan Stadium. And that roof system, it's translucent. So, a lot of people are like, oh, make it retractable. And it's like, really, they did the research. 3% of the time you actually open it. And most of the time it's like a convertible that looks great until you try to put it back down, and then something breaks and you never use it again. So I'm looking forward to it, but I didn't, except for my tax money, I haven't helped build it.
Teresa, just one more. You recently announced that you're going to be retiring midway through this season. You've been covering sports in Tennessee for what I've read, nearly 40 years. What are the big plans for retirement?
Well, I'll continue to be doing some work for the AP because, it's tough to slide completely into retirement. But, my husband and I, he retired earlier this year. I've been doing it. I've been working for nearly 45 years. I want to travel and do some fun stuff.
Well, all the best. Thank you. I appreciate you. I don't know if you remember, but you joined us back when we were another station. Always a pleasure to have you on our station. I love the knowledge. And hey, if you're going to be still working a little bit, we might have to reach out still.
Well, I shared my upcoming personal number with Connor. So please reach out because I will be helping out AP for months to come.
Awesome. Teresa, thanks so much for this, and enjoy the start of the regular season. It'll be here in no time.
Yes, it will, and I cannot wait.
There you go. Teresa Walker covers the Tennessee Titans for the Associated Press, and we're very thankful to have her join us as she has the last couple of years here to preview the Titans' upcoming seasons, and I think there's reasons to be excited. I like that team. I like what they've been doing. I love the head coaching hire. I thought Sal kind of got the raw end of the deal in New York. He built up a good defense. That wasn't really the problem, but when you are the head coach, of course, it does kind of fall on you. We'll take a break. When we come back, Cam Tate's 2-minute warning, and we'll wrap up the show. It is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's AquaCentral reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Now's the time to shop the Brick's 0% event. Get what you need today with absolutely $0 down. Pay nothing with no interest until 2028. Or choose 36 equal monthly payments on qualifying purchases. Plus, save up to 25% on living room furniture, up to 20% on dining and bedroom furniture, and up to 40% on select mattresses. Hurry into the Brick today. These incredible offers are only on until August 19th. The Brick, saving you more.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact because our team is built on second chances and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Gregor for a first-time discount. Hire Good. Stable jobs create stable lives.
Crispy, caramelized edges, a pillowy, airy center. Meet the new Papa John's Pan Pizza. Made with Parmesan and Romano cheeses, Papa John's special garlic sauce, and Italian seasoning, all baked directly into the bottom of the crust for a signature golden finish and crispy, savory crunch. Grab a medium pan pizza for just $16.99 today at your local Papa John's. Order now in the app or at papajohns.ca. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Hi, Edmonton. If the Subaru Outback is on your wish list, now's the time to act. With only limited inventory available, these award-winning SUVs won't be here for long. The Outback has earned an IIHS top safety pick or higher for 17 consecutive years, combining legendary Subaru capability, confidence in every season, and the versatility to take you almost anywhere. Reserve yours today before they're gone. Visit your local Subaru dealership today. Welcome to Uncommon.
He came home, and right away I saw that look in his eyes. I knew what was coming. Before I could even speak, he raised his hand
and just kept texting me, asking where I was, demanding I respond immediately or I'd regret it. It hurt.
More than you can imagine.
Tech abuse is real abuse. If you or someone you know is using technology to harm or control, change is possible. Learn how to end the violence at alberta.ca/endgbv. A message from the Government of Alberta.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Gregor Show, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Mackenzie McLennan with you here from the Sports 1440 studios. The show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. And go to the Gregor Show specials. Boosted odds. Remember to use your game sense. We talked about bad office behavior in honor of Alan Mitchell. Apparently, you could just buy muffin tops, Kevlar says. I did not know that. I just like the whole muffin. I'm good with it. Hampton Steve says his office pet peeves: people who microwave fish, people who don't clean up after themselves at the coffee maker in the kitchen, or people who have conversations at a volume where everyone in the building knows what they're talking about. Yeah, kind of mind your business. Like, just go into a side area and talk quieter. I get that. We have like a paper towel dispenser. We have like 5 of them that never get refilled. That's like a pet peeve of a couple of us here at Stingray. It's getting better, though. People are kind of figuring it out. Right now, let's get to Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. Tater was on vacation, mingling with a lot of celebrities. He's back, though, for the 2-minute warning, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where their rates never change. No OT charges, furnace repair, and maintenance. You can do it now with legacyheating.ca. And, of course, every day we do it. Deck, we ready? Let's do it. Cam Tate's 2-minute warning.
For more than 28 years, Kelly Rudy has stood in the crease of the broadcast booth, reading the play before it develops. The same instinct that made him one of the best goaltenders of his generation. So when he sat at home one night, glass of red wine in hand, phone propped up instead of a camera worth thousands, you'd figure he'd stop it clean. Easy save. Not this one. This one got through. Last week, Kelly posted a video online. Same steady presence we've known for years. Square to the shooter, never rattled. But the words carried more weight than usual. He told us he wouldn't be back Saturday nights. Not on the broadcast that's worn the name Hockey Night in Canada like a crest on the sweater. Sportsnet had pulled him from the lineup, his contract not renewed, the news landing just 5 days after Carolina hoisted the cup. I debated whether to post anything at all, he said, but my wife Donna and I decided the night before to use my platform to inform everyone about my situation. I've known Kelly a long time. We first met in a Los Angeles dressing room, 1991, I think. Pads off, mask on the bench beside him. Turned out he grew up in Elmwood, one shift over from my own West Edmonton neighborhood. My sister sat in his high school class. 3 summers straight, Kelly drove his pickup from Calgary to Edmonton just to golf with the top bidder in a charity auction I ran for the Christmas Bureau. After sinking his putt on 18, he'd stay 2 more hours just to visit. That's a goalie who stays late to sign every last stick. Sportsnet's decision pulled a steady glove hand and one of the kindest guys in the business right out of the crease. I'll miss having him between the pipes on Saturday nights. But Kelly, 65, isn't hanging up the pads. Offers are already coming over the boards. We're feeling great, he told me. Looking forward to Act 3. 3 words, right through the 5-hole. I'm very content. This isn't the final buzzer. It's just intermission before the next period starts. Declan still work here or what? Sports, 1440.
Declan very much works here. Crucial part of Sports 1440. And yeah, that was it was a nice video, Kelly Rudy. And I don't know, like I guess I've kind of been through it. I'm not as big time as Kelly Rudy, but it is kind of an awkward spot. You want to like thank all your supporters and people that were there for you. And honestly, when that happens, you get a lot of support. Like when it happened with us at 1260, it sucked. And, you know, we had a lot of uncertainty what was going to happen. But just hearing the kind words and the messages from people on social media or those we called, like it goes a long way. So I'm sure he felt that. And good on him to speak out. And, you know, we've had Kelly on the Jason Gregor show a few times. During Bell Let's Talk, he was very candid about, you know, his struggles with mental health and what he'd gone through and things that, you know, had helped him. And I think he's helped so many people with that. So intrigued to see what happens next for Kelly Rudy. And man, he was cool during his playing days with the orange towel, little bandana thing. Bring some swag to the goaltender position. We talked about it earlier today on Deck Selects, PlayAlberta.ca. WNBA, Paige Becker's over 19.5 points and just asking them to cover the spread, 6.5 points. You do that, you could pick up some money. Do so responsibly. PlayAlberta.ca. We'll go back into the text line. Someone that said we had might have lost contact there with Bob just saying it's Southgate. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but we did have a power outage earlier today. We are back and ready to go. Some more text also about the comments from Elks ownership back in the day about the older Caucasians being fans. Same for those to claim or some petty BS. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hey, they've built it back up. That's kind of the positive, I would say. From all the negatives, like the name change, the comments that were made, COVID, a bad football team, the organization was kind of in a bad spot. And it took a while to get things going here. But the new ownership, the Thompson family, I mean, I think they kind of realized that like it starts there. If you're looking for someone who knows the winning culture of this city, who has experience building up a football program, Chris Morris, in hindsight, was kind of the obvious answer. He played for the team when they were at their best. He went to the University of Alberta, had, you know, kind of management skills there. I believe a principal as well. He knows, Ed Hervey knows how to build a football team. Bring him in. And only 2 years into the regime, you're already seeing the depth that they've done. And like the comments that they made about building that winning culture and guys who want to be here, who want to hang around in the offseason and not firing someone or cutting someone immediately. Like, let's have these things. Let's learn from their mistakes and grow. I think the growth you've seen from Mark Killam has been absolutely massive as a head coach, and he deservedly got that job after being in this league for a long time. The staff that he's bringing together, I think JC Sherritt has grown a lot as a defensive coordinator, and not a surprise. Like, we know he's a very smart mind. He went down and was coaching for a long time. We saw him on the field. The guy could dissect as good as anyone. It was just about growing into it and learning from the situations. Jordan Maksimic, I think we're seeing some growth there and what he's able to do. X fans might want to see a little more aggressiveness at times, maybe less runs up the gut, but geez, just go back to that second half. The run game wasn't necessarily working for Justin Rankin. Well, let's split him outside. Let's get him involved in the passing game down the seam. The catch he had, we talked about it with Rick Walters earlier today, like hanging on to the football was incredible. So I think there's a lot of positives, and you're starting to see it now. People getting back out there supporting the team. It's really encouraging, and it'll hopefully continue this Saturday or Friday night. Actually, taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We'll have tickets to give away as the week rolls on here on the Jason Gregor Show and on Sports 1440. You just actually have to text in Elks to 1-833-401-1440. That music means we are done. Big thank you to all of our guests for joining us on the program today. Kevin Woodley, Rick Walters, Alex Adams, Speck, Teresa Walker. And thank you guys for joining us on the show. If you missed it, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from, make sure you go download it or rewatch the show at Sports 1440 AM on YouTube. Make sure you hit that thumbs up as well. Coming up next, Fox Sports Radio. We'll be back live tomorrow morning with the Tom Gazzola Show. Brandon Douglas sitting in at 7 a.m. But right now, before we hand things over to the fine folks at Fox, we're going to get to one final Sports 1440 update with Declan Kruger, brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Scores from around the majors. Orioles currently lead the race 6-4 in the bottom of the sixth. Phillies up 2-0 on the Marlins in the middle of the fourth. Cardinals lead the Reds 2-1 in game 2 of their doubleheader. Tigers leading the Pirates 4-0. Red Sox over the Diamondbacks 2-0. Mets on the Padres leading that one 2-1. The A's lead the Royals in the bottom of the first 1-0. One game delayed in the top of the first. The Braves and the Twins at 0. The two games to come today in the league will see the White Sox and Cubs in about 10 minutes time, as well as the Dodgers and Rockies at 6:40. WNBA action will just see the one game, the Dallas Wings in Golden State to take on the Valkyries, an 8 p.m. tip for that one. And in case you missed it, the big news today from the sporting world, the NBA finding no evidence showing LA Clippers owner Steve Ballmer funneled money through team sponsors to pay Kawhi Leonard. Also, Jamal Adams with a right quad non-contact injury will be out for the season for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free